Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
The Sunday Session is brought to you by More Beer, who has just opened their East Coast distribution center and is now shipping orders from California and Pennsylvania. Check them out at morebeer.com.
Great beer is about drinkability. Doesn't matter the style.
You guys are like walking beer Wikipedia. That's the first time that you've ever accepted me as a person.
Or you have a fermentation in your gut.
Yeah.
I'm jet propelled at all times.
How many guys do you think that you have the privilege to slap?
Somebody who's never tasted a commercial example, and this is how you know everything about this beer? Please, you don't.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too.
Wow. Are you guys going to arm wrestle?
No.
We're going to teabag fight. Yeah. You heard of Junkyard Wars?
Can I get another high five, Beavis?
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Yeah. All right, here we are. Once again, making it happen for you. Not for us, but for you. That's why we do this.
Thank you.
It's for you.
Thank you very much.
Not you, JP.
Not me?
I was wondering what the motive was.
It's not for us,
I'm going to write
Tasty.
this down. Say that real slow for one more time. It's for them?
Yes.
Not us.
No, not us.
It's for me. Not
us.
you. Yes.
Them, not us. Okay.
Yeah. I hear last week's show got a little crazy. Did you guys hear that? I don't remember much. I was told.
When you black out about the 2-hour mark?
I don't know, right about the time my blood pressure rose is where I blacked out, I think.
That's just when it got good.
You want to hear an interesting result of my explosion on last week's show?
Yes, I do, actually.
What was the topic? I forget. I was here, but you know.
It had to do...
I lost track of it as soon as I get here.
It had to do with improper sponsor...
management.
Thank you.
Yes, I get. I remember that, yes. Yeah.
I quit therapy.
What?
Now I know that sounds counterintuitive to the bizarre yet and angry explosion that I had, but there's a reason behind it. I'm finally not holding in all the anger that I have. I unleashed the fury in all of its natural form, and I felt instantly, I'm healed. I'm cured. I don't hold it back anymore.
That was it. It was just a plug. You were like a sailor at sea for 10 years.
Precisely.
And you found a flop house, and then suddenly you feel better.
All the dust and everything, and blood and semen and everything else all came shooting out.
Your emotional pipes are clear.
No more therapy. No more Steve. I quit.
Did you have the realization, like, during the show after the outburst, or, like, reflecting at 11 p.m.?
Post-aneurysm recovery.
Well, the anger went on well into the middle of the night. So it wasn't until the next day when I discovered how relieved I felt, how peaceful I felt with everything that had transpired, that I was like, that's what he's been talking about. Just go ahead and get angry.
Yeah.
And I did.
So did you have another session to explain all that, or you just called him up and said, I'm done?
I had another session because I've been going to this guy for far too long. You might remember that I tried to quit before.
Yeah, several times. Yeah.
And then he started working pro bono, is how much he thought I needed his help.
It's been a long time he's been working pro bono.
So, yeah, and so I I presented my case, and he said, "That's what I was waiting for."
Really? That's what he said?
Not precisely the blow up, but he said
the kind of thing.
He said the last time that you said you were ready to get out of here, I just didn't think you were. I didn't think you had gone through what I'm waiting for you to go through. And he basically was like, I think you got it.
I never really,
Isn't that weird?
thought that you had an issue with getting angry.
Because you get it so much?
Yeah. I guess it was just an issue with directing your anger, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of both. Imagine this. Imagine you've only been seeing a fraction of my anger.
Right? Awesome.
And now that I'm cured, oh boy, is it going to be gnarly for you.
Yeah, great.
Nate Smith just walked in. Nate, you missed Justin announcing that per the blow-up last week, he quit therapy.
Yeah.
Really?
As opposed to extended it.
That was the
what
breakthrough.
I think,
it's a big turning point
for him.
Yeah.
I think most listeners are going to be like, oh, thank God that guy's in therapy. It was a breakthrough. I unleashed the fury where the fury was appropriate.
I got photo evidence of it.
You do?
You look kind of scary. I almost posted it, but it was a little too scary. I couldn't do it.
Bevo told me that afterward, veins and the whole bit. And I realized I did it when I felt it, at the time of the thing that made me angry, toward the people that were angering me. All the things you're supposed to do as an angry person.
Yeah.
No.
That's great.
Society says you're supposed to bottle that up,
right?
Make it worse.
Yes.
Screw yourself over, screw everyone else over later.
And then see a therapist.
Take it out on your wife.
So now you're going to be more of an asshole, you're saying?
It could happen. But at least you know it's coming from a healthy place, Tasty.
That's true. It's for your better good.
Yeah.
Not ours.
Yeah, the show
He's just like our show.
He's
Yes.
Not us.
So, I don't know. Listen, we'll see how it goes.
Hey,
that's exactly. We'll see how it goes.
But I got the guy's number. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm saying,
keep that time slot.
Well, yelling at free help is always beneficial.
Yes! It's what I've been doing to Steve for a year.
Right.
And your crew here at the BN.
Yes. Turns out I've had multiple free therapists for a long time.
It's pretty good.
So I just thought I'd announce that. No more discussion about me and my little sissy therapy out of this guy anymore.
No, you're a big man now.
Now it's all punching bags and anger.
Right.
But, he kind of hopes he won't see you again in a way, but he knows better.
But he was like, he gave me like the nice, I think you're ready. He left and got out his notepad.
Dear diary.
Yeah, he's marking a red X on the wall calendar.
January 10th. I give him 3 months.
Yeah. Oh, you're probably.
What is the over under on that? Actually,
that could be another pool.
Could he be? Well, could Jay be entered into the death pool because all that rage? He'll pop a vein.
He's turning into
he'll break a wall.
Medical show.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean to spend a lot of time on it. I just thought
Doesn't matter.
I thought it was an interesting footnote to last week's explosion that the opposite of what you thought would happen happened.
It could be that he just wasn't very good, and then you realize that somewhere. You're like, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, Steve, I'm ready, bro. It's cool.
But something's wrong here.
It was his polite way of saying you're out of his league.
Yeah, he's like, look, all this free help ain't helping me or you.
Yeah.
Or the book is done. I mean, that was the other
his case study.
That's why we assumed he was doing all the free work anyway.
That's true.
All right. More importantly, we received our first cease and desist letter here at the Brewing Network.
Oh.
Yeah, we received it last week after our awards show.
Well, it's just a matter of time.
You might recall that we gave Beer of the Year to Society Brewing Company.
Right.
Yeah,
for the Harlot.
Yeah.
And we were quite happy with the beer. It was a practically unanimous decision. I even mentioned what a great brewery name the Harlot would be. Well, I think that's what triggered. The Society sent us a cease and desist. I'll read it to you now.
Society did. Those assholes.
Yeah, I mean...
I take it back. Maybe we don't like the beer so much.
I would have thought the Society guys, of all people, understand where we're coming from. But, I got this. It was in my inbox the next morning. So
what did they say?
Their law team got right on it. Dear Justin, we're going to have to ask you not to proceed with any plans to open the Harlot Brewery. In fact, it's come to our attention that your company, the Brewing Network, has blatantly infringed on our intellectual property by discussing the beer, the Harlot, here and after the 2013 Beer of the Year. On your show, as how it should be labeled. The Sunday session, dated January 6th, 2014. We are extremely misled when we were informed that you had misappropriated the 2013 Beer of the Year. We would like to remind you that the 2013 Beer of the Year is the sole property of Society Brewing Company, LLC, and you must refrain from discussing the 2013 Beer of the Year without our express written and verbal permission. Such permission may or may not be granted when we bring kegs of the 2013 Beer of the Year to pour at the Winter Brews Festival on Saturday, January 25th. Although we are honored to be informed that we have been awarded a BNA for the 2013 Beer of the Year, we need to stress the fact that we cannot wait to share the 2013 Beer of the Year with you and the entire BN Army. Please immediately cease and desist from providing lackluster content on your network. Also, CC the Hop Grenade from their lawyer, Mike.
Yeah, that's the problem is, they hired an attorney to be part of their front office team, Mike.
Yeah,
this is what you get when you get an attorney on your team.
Now he's all over all of it.
Ridiculous.
If you would like to direct your response or anger, in my case,
if you're a healthy, angry person
towards Society Brewing
you
Company,
be on the show,
you will find them Saturday, January 25th at the Brewing Network's 5th Annual Winter Brews Festival. Tickets are still available at bnbrewfest.com. They're still threatening that they could pull out at any time, and I don't take those threats lightly.
Will we be able to pour the Harlot at Winter Brews?
Whoa!
As long as we don't,
I can't say that.
No, we're no longer allowed to discuss it. By the way, it's heretofore known as the 2013
beer. There,
you can't even say those words. You're gonna have to go back and edit that.
Yeah, cut it out and post. Yeah,
I'll do that, and they can pour it, but we cannot discuss it at the Winterfest.
I see.
Yeah, I'm excited to see those idiots over there. I hope Dougie wears nutters. The weather's supposed to be warm.
How do you know that now? Really? It's a long range forecast.
Oh, we know the forecast 60 years from now. Don't
you guys are very
the
lucky.
Planet is screwed.
Yeah.
All right, Winter Brews Festival is coming up. Go to bnbrewfest.com right now. I'm working hard on getting people out to this festival. I have a weird suspicion that we might sell out for the first time this year. So buy your tickets early.
There's a number. Okay.
There's a number this year because I stopped ordering 10 million glasses.
Yes.
So right. We're moving out of our current studio before the next Winterfest, and there's no place to store excess glassware. So I have planned for what we normally get, and then some, a little bit of growth. We're getting a great response right now. For the first time ever, by about 20 breweries, we've broken our own brewery record. We now have over 50 breweries signed up. The most we've ever had, I think, is a 35. So
how am I going to have a beer from each? You're going to kill me now.
I know. That
is crazy.
And not just that, the lineup is pretty stellar. I mean, I'm not just talking about every Tom, Dick, and Harry who has a brewery license. No. I mean, we're talking Society, Jester King, Heretic Brewing Company, Marin, and Moylan's. We haven't had Moylan's in a while, and they're going to be back this year.
Nice.
A couple of new breweries, Triple Voodoo, who you've heard on the show recently. I mean, you name it. So we're now up to over 50, which is by a lot.
Faction.
Faction.
Will be doing their first pouring event.
Is it their first fest?
Oh, nice.
Oh, I love it. Roger Davis doing his first event with us.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I share the same concern as Nate. Can we maybe get eyedropper sized, just a drop per brewery? And we still get a buzz on that way.
You might have to do it. Everyone's going to have to be careful with over 50. Not to mention Tasty's Tasting Room, which I understand has at least 20 beers coming right now, and probably will end up more.
Yeah, we're going to have a nice little setup there, and of course, as usual, have the longest line and the most buzz.
Tasty, what are you pouring? Do you know yet?
I'll be doing my Blind Pig clone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Nathan, is one of your beers going to make it?
Yeah, I think so. I got 3 in the pipeline, one of which may make it through.
Not sure which one's going to be ready yet?
Not sure. Hopefully I have a IPA featuring a new hop called Azaka. I want to pour that if it's any good. I've never tried that hop, so.
I've been going around handing out the flyers and the posters at the different beer bars around the East Bay, and at almost every single one I go into, either a bartender or a server or a manager is like, they're all homebrewers. And they all tell me, hey, I'm going to be there. I'm pouring at Tasty's Tasting Room.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot of people in the industry now that are bartenders and servers and all that are also homebrewing. And I know there's a guy from Ole. I think Dan is his name.
Yeah, Dan Bennett. Yeah, he's on the list.
Met a guy down at Trappist who said he's going to pour. I think I even met someone at Faction who wasn't working, but just hanging out in the tasting room, said he's going to pour. So a lot of homebrewers going to be there pouring their beer, too, and that's exciting. Live music from Forest Day in Lucas, Ohio. Just take my word for it and go get your tickets already. It's going to be a good time. All right, couple other announcements. Still doing our Home Brewer of the Week segment. In fact, we've got another feature for you today. If you'd like to nominate yourself or somebody else for Home Brewer of the Week, just send Scott an email with a description of yourself or said Home Brewer of the Week to scott@thebrewingnetwork.com.
Brewing disasters as well. Keep those coming.
Yeah, all goes to Scott.
6'5". I have brown hair. Slightly overweight, but I have a cleft foot.
What temp do you like to mash in at?
I'm not very into hiking.
No.
Due to cleft foot.
Although I am into biking.
Yes.
Which is weird.
It is weird. Not the normal 2-wheel. I like the 3-wheel kind that you sit down. That's my kind of biking.
The recumbent bike.
The clubbed foot biking team.
Yeah, straight out of Martinez.
Yeah, coming soon to a highway near you. A 2-lane windy road near you.
Send all that to scott@thebrewingnetwork.com. Look, if all else fails and you don't know where to send things, they go to scott@thebrewingnetwork.com.
Pretty much.
All right. Some of you did a lot of your Christmas shopping on Amazon, and you did it by clicking our Amazon link on the homepage, and we appreciate that very much. Please continue to do so. It's a great way for you to help support the content of this show and help us bring it to you each and every week. You spend all the same money you did anyway, just we get a little piece of it. Not all of it goes to the man. Some of it goes to the boy, which is what we are. We're like the
boy inside.
Yeah. So keep doing that, please. We appreciate it. You can also support us by shopping in our store. There are Brewing Network grill aprons to get ready for the warm weather. There are BN onesies up there now for all those of you who've been asking to dress your babies as degenerates. Those are there now. There's a lot of new hats. I got new hat colors and styles in there. Zippies, hoodies, T-shirts, for men and women, you name it. There's a bunch of stuff on there.
There's things.
Just click the store button or just go to thebrewingnetwork.com/store, and that's a great way to support us, too. All of this is available to listen to on your BN mobile app. Just search BN Mobile in iTunes or the BN Marketplace. Watch it live on thebrewingnetwork.com/TV. That's our live stream page, and you can see pretty much every show that we do live. Brew Strong, Dr. Homebrew, Brewing with Style, The Session, other things.
And things.
All over at brewingnetwork.com/TV. All right. Subscribe and join the BN Army. That helps too. Get all this and more over on Twitter and
Facebook.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Send show IDs to Scott the Jew. That's Scott@thebrewingnetwork.com. Send feedback to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. Send everything else back to Scott@thebrewingnetwork.com. All right. Do we have a Twitter game today?
We do.
What is it? Our Twitter game is brought to you today by the 21st Amendment. Go to 21st-amendment.com. where you'll find information about their new sneak attack Saison. They released it in the winter this year. Those mislaing little bastards. That's a real sneak attack. Saison in the winter. Go to 21st-amendment.com. What's Twitter game?
Well, as we're all, maybe we're all aware of this, I don't know, but Moscow is no longer on Twitter. The escalating gender wars have got to him, and he decided to remove himself from social media, especially Twitter. So what do you think he spends his days doing now? What fills his time besides fighting online? Like, there's no more fighting to do. Right. What does he do?
I've often wondered what he does with his time.
Well, we're about to find out.
So you presume that before I was just posting on Twitter, and now what?
Yes.
I see.
Right.
He won't even be able to read these offensive
things.
Right.
Because he's like the guy that protests too much.
Right.
And so once he discovered Twitter, you know that it meant he was all in. It's all he did for whatever that period of time was.
That seems like him.
What now?
Right.
That's our Twitter game.
Yes. What does Scott do now?
Nothing. Doesn't do anything.
Twitter soaked up too much of his time.
He's producing in silence.
Right. Can I play along today?
Yes, Stacey, you may.
I'll put my entry in later.
I want to do feedback.
But it'll be about masturbating or something.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, I will lump it in with the rest of them.
Yeah, all the masturbating jokes.
For feedback, does anyone want to send it to you again?
It's here somewhere, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What's the date today?
13th.
Got it. Found it.
I thought I was going to get the Fury. No, I'm more nervous than usual now.
I'm all released, man.
You know that Fury thing? Last week I must have been too stoned. But I didn't get it. I mean, I didn't feel his right. But he was directing it at people that were doing it.
Yes.
Right. I knew to shut up. But I'm good at it.
Yeah. You did.
They didn't know to shut up.
There was no Fury towards you.
No, I didn't feel any. So I didn't see your release like everybody else might have seen it.
See? Appropriate timing, directed at the appropriate people.
Right.
It's the secret.
Yeah.
Why didn't Steve say that 3 years ago?
Because you weren't ready,
I was not
young Padawan.
That's right. Oh, you're absolutely right, Tasty. You left here with...
I didn't.
I could have given you a dozen roses.
That's why I asked. What was the big deal? Where was this point at?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. No.
Well, remember the part where he threw the clipboard against the window and almost cracked the glass?
I was getting a beer, I think.
Oh, you're getting a beer. I see.
I haven't checked the glass. It could be cracked. It's behind the curtain. It could be. Has anyone looked?
No.
Didn't shatter.
I'm afraid to.
Yeah, me too. Let's leave it at that. All right, let's do our feedback. All right? Feedback's brought to you today by our good friends over at Austin Homebrew Supply. Go to austinhomebrew.com. If you're a Texan, they got a great Texas homebrew shirt you can get there. They got some other cool shirts, too, that we gave away at our holiday party. They have an AC/DC-style shirt that's FGOG.
Nice.
But they did the same lettering and everything. It's a pretty badass shirt.
That's cool.
They got some cool stuff over there, plus all the homebrew supplies you can ask for. Go check them out. They're big on kits. They have a lot of recipe kits that they've designed themselves, not to mention clones. They really pride themselves on their quality recipe kits. So if you're looking for a certain style of beer to do, or a beer from a certain brewery, go check out austinhomebrew.com. All right. Let's see what's in the feedback. Oh, is this a poem?
Yeah.
A poem?
It's a poem. I believe it's how it's pronounced.
Oh, it's by Tour.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's to JP.
Right.
Should I read it in his grammar?
I think you should. I think you not only should, but you must.
You have to.
Yeah.
All right. I have a friend called JP. I'm not sure if he likes me. He can be a bit of a douche. He can be a bit of a noose. But I like his phobic humor.
So far, it's pretty good.
Okay. I like him most of the time. He makes my laughter chime. I like the shows he makes. I like the enthusiasm he fakes.
I love this.
When Justin throws him a bone.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Arg, F this. Get well, JP. And if you die, I'll like to inherit your favorite 12-sided dice. Sighted dice.
Better find it first.
That was all. Thanks from Tour.
No, I have the 12.
Oh, you got it.
But I don't really use the 12 all that often because my guys are fucking 8s and 10s, bro.
Did we still lose your other one? What did we lose? Your 13?
My 20-sided, that has been right here forever and ever.
If we don't find it when we move this studio over to the Hop Grenade, I'd be offended if I were you, because it means somebody stole it.
I'm convinced someone stole it.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Who would steal it?
I don't know.
Or no, why would somebody steal it?
Because
to Meisel JP.
they only have an 8.
Yeah, there you go. Because they only have a 19-sided.
Only to Meisel JP.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just to fuck with you.
Who else plays D&D that would even care?
No, I don't think it's
not
cared.
that, is it?
It's that it's important to me.
Oh.
Right.
Do you think there's a chance?
See, nobody would do that to me because I'm likable.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Well, maybe we should ask them to turn it in, like the assholes, so they are.
Should we do one of those? No charges.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. No, we won't press any charges. Just return the very important 100-sided dice.
That never works. That approach.
It doesn't?
It never gets returned, whatever the item is.
Sometimes. Doesn't it work with babies and stuff, like when people kidnap babies?
I don't know that. I don't know.
Probably
doesn't. Ask Charles Lindbergh.
I would have thought there'd be a good chance someone would return it now that JP has announced that he's dying of cancer. It's like they would have felt bad. Like, all right, you know what? You can have your dice back.
Whoever stole it, if they don't return it, you will get cancer. That's what karma will do to you.
That's just good science.
You stole a cancer die.
Yeah, it's actually a die. It's not a dice.
Whatever.
Die of
Whatever.
I find myself rewriting all of Sugar Valley Brewers into songs about JP having cancer all week long. Like whenever I don't know why, but I'm like, JP's got cancer. Like all of them.
Are you not on Twitter either?
Oh, why is it? I'm not. No.
No. Well, that's why you have free time to do that. Just like Scott.
Yeah,
now,
I just keep writing them.
Well, I appreciate that.
JP is a friend of mine. Like I do that one too. All the old ones. Doesn't even matter. He's got cancer and that's just fine. Sometimes I'm not happy with the lyrics I write. Like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wow, you shouldn't say that.
It's funny. But I'm not likable. Remember that?
Right.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
JP lost his wiener in the cancer ward. The cancer ward. The cancer ward.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever had wiener cancer? Or is it just ball cancer?
Sure. Any flesh
can get cancer?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just a misled, like a gene or whatever, a misled cell that grows exponentially.
JP stuck his wiener in the cancer mold.
Cancer hole.
The cancer hole, you're right. See, I'm not great at the lyrics.
Justin stuck his wiener in JP's cancer hole.
Yeah.
It was wet and warm and fine.
if not a little bit lumpy and less than malignant.
Well, there are chambers.
Oh. All right.
Can we move on?
Yeah, there's only one more.
Yeah, feedback wasn't very good this week.
Love the holiday show with Matt Brynelson. Thank God it was not Nicole's birthday. Your pal, Harry Hood. Was it Nicole's birthday on a previous Brynelson show?
No.
Not Brynelson, but the last
holiday show.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think the last time she was even on, right?
I think she chugged like 8 beers, and it was a stellar Drunk of the Week performance.
Yeah.
Maybe a once-in-a-lifetime sort of deal.
Did she accept her recognition award at the end of last week's program? Do you know? Did she feel honored?
Oh, definitely. She felt very honored. She didn't want to feel left out. She wanted to win something.
Good. You know? And she did.
Yeah.
Birthday!
All right. I think that's it. That's all the feedback?
Yeah, it was very lackluster.
Okay. Well, that's it. No, not even a spam of the week, huh?
No, the spams were all the exact same ones we've been doing, and they just weren't very good. They weren't very dynamic.
What's happened to the spammers? They're not being very creative nowadays.
I think we're out of the rotation a little bit.
What about the original spam that became your cancer announcement? Did they ever write back?
No.
They said they only had 7 days
did.
or something like that. So.
I've responded to a couple of these, and nobody ever gets back.
See, you'd think that a single response and the floodgates would open.
Right. Well, they could sell those email addresses to people worldwide.
Oh, maybe that's what's happening. They're just selling but that's okay. We want more.
That's true. That's true.
Okay. All right. Real quick, if you use coupon code BNARMY over at adamandeve.com, you can get a bunch of adult things at a discount, some things for free, like shipping. Here's what happens. Use coupon code BNARMY. You get just about any item for 50% off. And then you get free shipping. And then you get to choose 3 free adult DVDs from genres such as
anal,
big butts,
redheads,
busty.
Yeah, all sorts. You name it, it's there over at adamandeve.com. And then you get a free extra gift that's sensual.
It is.
Apparently.
It's very sensual.
So sensual that, I don't know. But everyone gets a different one, I guess. It's not the same one anymore. It's not like, oh, now I've ordered once and I got my sensual gift. I won't get another surprise. You could get another surprise because they now rotate the sensual things.
That's right. That was Bevo that announced that, right? Oh, they change it all the time.
Yeah, Bevo's our best customer.
It's also online.
They show it?
No, but people talk about it.
Oh, I see.
It's weird. Bevo goes, have you ever ordered from Adam and Eve? And I go, oh, we're finally having this conversation in our friendship?
Right.
And we started talking about it. We were like Googling what you can get, random cool stuff. I think we talked about it.
We did.
Someone got a double ender.
Really?
Yeah.
The old double ender.
That's not I wouldn't call a double-ended dildo sensual. I would call it like factual. Like, this is a thing. This is a solid fact. I wouldn't be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not sensuous.
Something I do.
But like destructive.
Do they make a double ender that has 2 on one end and 1 on the other, or maybe a double ender so that everybody's getting double?
I don't
everybody
know.
Involved.
The double.
They should make a double. They can
animal style.
Yeah, it's all if you slop it with lube, it's animal style.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure they do. I mean, people are freaks.
That's a lot of ends.
A lot of double D's.
Don't Google image that. Whatever you do.
Oh, nice.
Oh, how did that go for you?
I can't unsee that.
Apparently, Scott's never been on Google Image Search.
See, I'm not the guy who turns off the adult supervision. I keep Safe Search on all the time because I can't unsee things either, and it ruins things for me.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
It might ruin you from seeing something good too. So.
You know what? But it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yes.
Like the 2 guys, 3 cups or whatever it's called. A couple cups and a person.
Right.
Never saw that.
Never saw it either.
And why would anybody do that to themselves? Right. You can't unsee that.
What's the only part I ever played in that phenomenon was excuse me, watching some of the reaction videos.
I saw a couple of them,
and those were pretty funny. That's all I need to see to know how disgusting it is. I don't need to see the actual thing, but the
But people like to watch it all, like the world's largest pimple and all these videos,
faces of death,
and I'm just like, I don't know. You have to have that in your life? I feel like if I die...
They just don't have Twitter yet.
See?
If I die having never seen half of the things that young people and old people see in their life today, I'll be fine with that. You know that you're only as good as what you put in? You ever think of that? It's not just food. It's not just junk food. You got to consider your brain kind of the same. So, you're sitting around watching the Jersey Shore like I do. I'm a much dumber person when I do that.
Yes.
When I spend my time reading, I'm a much smarter person.
That's why I listen to classical music.
Whatever you put in, I'm kind of making fun of this, but I would make the very quick PSA. The same with food works with your brain. Whatever shit you put in is what shit you're going to get out.
Right.
Put in more good things.
I just drank beer and made beer for years. Is that how I ended up here?
Yeah, see? My point exactly.
How is that Jersey Shore book? Is it good?
See, I love that stuff. But now that I canceled cable, I don't know more Jersey Shore. I'm a much smarter person.
Yeah. It is a challenge having to source stuff out, but none of that. You can't just randomly fall onto a reality show and you get caught in that trap, because everyone likes looking at car accidents.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I was at my brother's house the other day. Teen Mom was on. I guess they rebooted the show, and we're sitting there waiting to go, and I'm like, this is the most dumb shit. Is she really going to say that to that boy? Like, you just get caught up in it because it's terrible.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to stand on my high horse and say that we all do it, both with junk food. I like the occasional junk food, and with junk information. It's fun. It's nice to relax. Don't get me wrong. I'm not judging, and I'm not standing on my high horse. I'm just making I'm just letting you know the conclusion I've come to, and that's that my brain works better when I put good things in it, just like my body.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
I can't believe Schumann never forced you to watch that by oh, hey, come check out this YouTube video on my laptop, and then he hits that. I heard a lot of people got forced into watching it.
Yeah, because they have songs on every Teen Mom episode. For some reason, the Trophy Fire became the Teen Mom, band.
Ironically.
The house band.
Yeah.
I had to watch a couple bits and pieces, and look, I'd still be watching Jersey Shore if it was on the air too. I for some reason I like that train wreck.
Are you going to buy Pauly D headphones?
They have them?
DJ Pauly D. They oddly enough they look like those Dr. Dre train wreck.
He ripped off the Dre thing.
No, because it's not that I'm a fan of the people by any means.
Right.
I'm a fan of the train wreck.
Right.
So if there was a way for me to represent the train wreck, I'd wear it. I don't know how that happens, but I think it's my life.
Bronzer.
It's how I behave when I'm watching that show.
Yeah.
That's me representing. Anyway, that's all. That's your lesson for today, boys and girls.
Thank you.
All right. As if anybody didn't already know that.
Right.
Okay, let's take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we're talking to the boys over at Reuben's Brews out of Seattle. We've got Adam Robbings on the show today and some interesting English malt beer to talk about. Plus, we have some to taste, right, Moscow? So we're going to be able to talk about that. If you want to talk about dark malts and specialty malts and English malts, this is your show. 888-401-BEER. Hang in there. It's the session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hi, I'm Jamel Zainasheff, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Home Brewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your home brew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainasheff. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
Nico, listen, our lawyers said that we had to do this for 1 hour, and after this, we don't have to talk to each other for 3 more months to the next meeting.
Kids, come on, let's get out of here.
I'm supposed to have more lines. I'm the professional. Hey, it's Sully.
And I'm Nico.
And we opened the 21st Amendment 9 years ago at 563 2nd Street in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park, to make great beer and have a great time doing it.
That's right, because to us, the 21st Amendment is more than just the right to make beer. It's the right to experiment, to be innovative, and just do things differently. And so now, we're putting our craft beer in cans.
That's right, cans. You can find our world-famous Hell or High Watermelon Wheat Beer and Brew Free or Die IPA throughout California and Alaska.
And now it's also available on draft at select accounts in the Bay Area.
So next time you're at your local neighborhood pub or good beer store, be sure to ask for 21st Amendment in cans.
Because everyone likes it in the can.
Tasty crack cans.
Tasty crack cans.
A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeast, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. Whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial. A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and brewing brother Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
This is www.thebrewingnetwork.com.
Sit down next to it, grab yourself a paper towel, and watch those yeast have sex.
You're listening to the Brewing Network.
Session.
Brewing up our next batch of Radio Gold.
Right now.
All right, welcome back to the show, and thanks for hanging out with us. We got a lot to do today with our next guest, Adam Robbings. He's the founder and brewmaster of Reuben's Brews. They're out of Seattle, Washington, and I think we're going to learn a lot from this guy. I based that on the fact that I just tasted one of his beers. Turns out it's the second beer of theirs I've tried, because he sent in a Roggen beer, or a listener sent in his Roggen beer when we did the Roggen beer episode. And I liked that one quite a bit, too, and now I like this robust porter in front of me.
Let's play it for Adam before he comes on.
Oh, yeah, you got the clip? Let me interrupt this for 1 second, because we did pour one of these Roggen beers in here. Whose beer is this one?
This one is from Reuben's Brews up in Seattle, Washington.
That's a fantastic beer.
It's pretty good.
I thought for sure I was not going to like a Roggen beer because of the closeness to Hefeweizen yeast, but the rye spice in this, and it's
tastes like a rye bread,
and it's a lot of it. Yeah, is more like a rye bread and less of that banana bullshit that I don't like. I really like this beer. Oh, there we go. See, I knew I liked something about this guy. Adam, welcome to the show.
Is it the same settings issue? Oh, no.
He's going under the table.
Are we going to get to see post-therapy Jay right now go berserk?
No, because I know how to fix it.
Oh, is it your fault, though? Nope. Oh,
No.
So wow. Oh, I feel like we should see some rage.
Someone's got to take the blame.
Due to not Jay? It wasn't me, was it? Was it me? As long as it wasn't me, I would like to see Rageful Jay.
Here, let me give you my
What's the
phone.
ABV on this robust porter?
This is, let's see, 5.9, 30 IBUs.
Really nice balance.
I think that's why we like it so much. It's so drinkable.
Let's try that, unless I have to reboot. Adam, you with us?
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Sorry about that. Had a wrong setting.
Sure thing.
So you probably didn't get to hear any of what we were saying about your wonderful beer yet.
Hopefully it was good stuff.
Yeah, no problem. It was good stuff. I was mentioning, so we've already opened your Robust Porter, and it turns out we did a Roggen beer show some time ago, and a listener sent us your Roggen beer style.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, as you probably know, is very difficult to find in the U.S., and we loved it. I didn't think I'd like that style, but we actually liked it quite a bit. So believe it or not, even though it's the first time we're meeting you, we already have a history, Adam.
Yeah, the Roggen beer was one of the first beers we actually brewed on a commercial system. It was a homebrew recipe I scaled up.
Got it.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that style?
I like doing things a little differently. I actually, when I was a home brewer, I was look at categories that I wanted to have beers to compete in competitions with, and the Roggen beer was one that just reading it sounded delicious. So I went out to try and buy some commercial examples to sort of get a feel of how I wanted to design the recipe, and there were none that I could get in like free bottle stores. So I thought, well, let's do it, and it's been one of our most popular beers in the tasting room.
It's excellent. I think more brewers should branch out. JP preaches this quite a bit. Should branch out on the styles a little bit. And I think this isn't one I would have recommended ahead of time, because I'm not a fan of that Hefeweizen yeast ester that comes out of some of those style beers. But your beer was not like that at all. It was really a great Roggen beer. So well done.
Oh, cheers.
Listeners,
fermentation profile with that hef strain,
So is it a lower temperature? Can you tell us about the profile? I got a lot more to ask you, but why don't we just start there?
Yeah, with that yeast, so it's Y-yeast 3068, so Weinstefan. We try and pitch in around 60 to 62, and then hold it so it doesn't go above 64.
Got it.
And then give it like 3 days, and then let it go up to 69 and just ferment itself out. But if you keep it suppressed, you can get a lot more balance of clove and banana. Whereas if you let it go a little too high, you get the banana bombs.
Yeah. So after the 3 days, you're not going to get much more flavor characteristic out of the yeast. Is that why that time frame before you let it rise?
Yeah, the ester profile and phenol should be pretty much locked in.
Got it.
And one thing we get, that yeast is an animal, so it just overflows out of the fermenter like crazy. So we know when it's stopped, like just literally like foam, like yeast foaming out like permanently. We know then we can let it rise a bit.
Got it. Okay. I like a good visual cue. I don't have to guess. It's exploding. Everything's fine. All right, listeners, you can go to ReubensBrews.com and check out the beer list over there. There's a great beer list, and we're going to be talking about some of these today, so I encourage you to do that. Go to ReubensBrews.com. You can also call 888-401-BEER if you've got questions. Bevo will be here shortly, so go ahead and enter the chat room, and when you see her log in there, you can ask us questions that way as well. So, Adam, why don't we start with some of the obvious? I'd like to know a little bit of your brewing history. Of course, it sounds like you didn't start your life in the United States.
Yes, I was born in London, in West London, and I lived there in that sort of area until 2004. I moved here in 2004, and originally just to do a 2-year transfer with work, and then moved back. And I was in finance at mobile phone company, and I liked it, so I extended my stay. I met my wife to be, so then I moved here permanently, and then we got married, and Reuben was born in 2009, and when he was born not really him, but he bought me a homebrew kit to get me started. So I think my wife had enough of me talking about different beers and wanting to change them, commercial beers, a little bit. So I'd train my palate on different hop profiles and different malt profiles, and so she sort of said, "Well, here you go. Reuben's bought you this. You can sort of shut up now or make up,
Nice.
And so when I the first 3 beers were all just recipes that sort of standard recipes that I brewed, and then after that I branched out into just doing all my own recipes, and within about 6 batches, all grain, and the rest is history. But we were lucky enough, so that summer we went to a local festival which has about 1,000 people and go to it, and about 28 breweries, and we saw that there were some homebrewers pouring there. So we asked, because they do the festivals in the summer and the winter, so we asked, could we be part of the winter one? And we went along. So they vetted you. So you had to go in front of the beer committee. It was a pretty nice job. There was like a beer committee. People on the beer committee. So we took 4 beers, and they all tried the beers, and they approved us. So we went to the festival, and it was amazing. There were, like I said, there were 28 breweries, all of the bigger guys there, and we won the People's Choice that night.
Nice. And were there other homebrewers entered too, or this is you against all craft breweries?
So there was 2 homebrewers. There's one other homebrewer who has since also turned pro as well recently. So they're literally like 3 blocks away from us in Ballard.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So from then we were in the paper, and I was getting emails asking for our beer, like from bars, and it was like, well, I'm just a homebrewer of my homebrew kit in my garage. So
right,
I just carried on learning. I really was new to it, and then 2 years later we opened in August 2012.
Now, that's a great competition. Tasty, how about that? You're a home brewer. There's only 2 of you up against 20-something professional breweries.
Yeah, well, what's this vetting process? And what was that like? Did you have to keep your clothes on? Or? I mean, was it a competition or something? Or how did you even get the opportunity to
be vetted?
To be vetted there.
Yeah, so I think we just put our hand up, and then they invited, I don't know how many homebrewers went to in front of the committee. I think it was at least 4. Mm-hmm. And they were trying your beers just to make sure that, they weren't disgusting or going to kill anybody there, I think.
So aside from the risk of this beer committee being a little too pretentious for my tastes, I kind of like this step in the process, because it was all other professional brewers who I guess you would hope have enough experience that their beer's not going to be total shit.
It's not the way around here.
It's not always that way, but so I do sort of like that there was a standard. Were they pretentious, or were they pretty cool? Like, oh, you know what, this tastes like good beer, so you're good.
No, they know their stuff. Like, a couple of them go to GABF every year, and and after that, because we got a little bit too much press, homebrewers were banned; they weren't allowed to go anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding! Oh,
it's illegal here too.
Oh, because it wasn't legal to do it, right?
Yeah, it's sort of, it was on the edge, I think.
Yeah,
and it got a little bit too much of a spotlight, because my wife and I were thinking, well, this would be fun to do every 6 months.
Sure.
We can brew a beer, and the beer we brewed there was the roasted rye. I didn't send you a bottle. I should have sent you one of those. But and so when they said no, you can't do that, it's like, oh well, that's
But what a bummer. What a cool thing though, as a homebrewer, not only to win that People's Choice, but then to be getting phone calls from bars. How do we get your beer? That's kind of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and that next year, so I brewed just a lot more competitions. I did an intensive course at UC Davis to understand a bit more of the technical side.
Okay.
And just carried on learning and just trying to absorb. And as sort of luck would have it, I won a best of show in a competition in the state, and brewed my beer at Anacortes Brewery, which is just a bit north of Seattle. Okay. And then because homebrewers were banned from that next year's festival, and Accordus managed to take the beer that I brewed with them to the festival, and that won the People's Choice again.
Wow, excellent.
That year. And so that was sort of, we should give this a go.
Yeah.
Which beer was that, Adam? That won your collaboration beer? What was that?
That was American Brown.
Okay.
So that's one that we're going to be bottling this season, so spring. And it's a little different because it's got we're sort of known for having some rye beers.
Yeah, I noticed that. What's with that?
Yeah. Well, the homebrew store that I went to when I was learning, Bob's Homebrew in Seattle, he loves rye, so he was always talking about rye.
Okay.
And it sort of was ingrained in my head that rye was the thing to do. And the other thing was it was a British maltster that makes like pale chocolate rye and crystal rye, which is Thomas Fawcett crystal rye. So I like playing with, when I'm trying to build some recipes, I like doing something a little different. And that was not totally crazy, but it was add a little bit of spice.
Sure.
And I noticed like all your styles are West Coast styles, are in that vein. Why aren't you making English milds? Or I'm not to stereotype you, but did you get your drinking legs while on this over here rather than in England?
So when I left in 2004, the craft beer scene in the UK didn't really exist. I'm sure I'm going to get beaten up for that, but
you just couldn't find them. Huh?
There was not much. Everything was fizzy yellow or a bitter, And when I came over here, that's what really sort of opened my eyes, and I started really training my sort of beer palate when I moved over here. A lot of people always ask me why haven't we got a bitter, and I've got a recipe, like a London Pride recipe, which is one of my favorites when I go back. And I'm actually talking about doing a collaboration with the brewery from my hometown where I went to school, Windsor and Eton Brewing. They opened in 2010, and we're talking about doing a virtual collaboration. So that's
awesome.
Both brew at sort of the same time, but sort of on video conference, we'll sort of watch each other and we'll work on the recipe together. But
nice.
I think we might do a brown porter or something like that, something that would link in sort of the UK links and a little different. We've never brewed.
I like that. You don't have to be there to do a collaboration beer.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Plus, it reduces your carbon footprint.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I like that you have these West Coast styles that are some of them are some hybrids, which is nice to see. But I think it seems like you brew a lot of different beers, so there's probably plenty of room for you to experiment with English styles too, if you wanted to.
Yeah. When we opened, we had 40 different recipes, 40 different styles that I had recipes for that I thought was strong enough to be brewed commercially, and we set ourselves up with no distribution, so we had no sales team. It was me and my brother-in-law and my wife, and we were going to we have 12 taps at the brewery. We're just going to brew what we want and not be locked into anything. And before we knew, we had 50 accounts, all but one had people coming into the brewery asking for our beer.
How did that happen?
Sort of word of mouth, I guess.
Okay.
Literally, people coming in and asking for our can they get us on tap? And it's like, well, at the start, it was like, well, I don't even know how to do that, So
we didn't think that far ahead of this whole commercial brewery process.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. I knew what I wanted to brew, and that's about it.
Right.
So we've brewed last year about 36 different styles, and we don't have any flagships. So people are sort of demanding certain beers all the time, like the porter that you've got in the Imperial Rye.
Yeah.
It's another one we're sort of known for. So we just sort of, nothing was really consciously thought through. It was like, let's just do what we want to do and see where it takes us, sort of.
What's funny about that is that we've had other startups and brewers come in and say that was their plan. Well, I'm not going to do the standards. I'm not going to. And then inevitably within like a year, they have 4 standards because you have to sell those beers. It sounds like you didn't even. You said that in the beginning, and you're still there now. You're just brewing what you want to brew.
we like our bottle. So we're in about 60 stores now.
Wow.
in 22s, and I was worried about doing that because I was worried that might lock us into the same beers all the time. But what we've done is we have a seasonal release schedule, so we can brew 3 different beers this quarter and then 3 different beers next quarter, and keep it fresh like that.
So your fans in the area know if they find you at the bottle shop every quarter, they're going to find something new from you.
Yeah,
and not just something new next to your standard. Literally, whatever shelf space Reuben's Brews has is something new.
Yep.
So it's a different crop of seasonals every 3 months or so.
Yeah. It's a little. So we have like an imperial seasonal. So every 3 months, the imperial beer changes.
Okay.
So like it was the imperial IPA. Now it's going to be an imperial oatmeal stout this quarter, and then we have a standard seasonal, which will be the American brown. It was a roasted rye, which is like a sort of like an imperial brown ale. And then we also then have another, just the way logistically it works, we have another spot, and then we eventually, when we have enough capacity, we'll be able to brew some beers year round. But as it is, it's like the porter now. Then we'll have our cream ale, and then a red in the fall.
And one of the things I really like about this model too is that the beer is fresh. You know if it's always rotating through, and they have something that they only brewed 6 months ago and it's still around, and you know that the retailer's necessarily rotating it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As they should.
I like the idea for just brand impact on the consumer. Yeah, because the labels are always different. You're never just glossing by. Oh yeah, I know that brewery. This bottle shop has their standards. They always have XYZ. I'm just looking for something else.
But now you really read it because
it makes you focus on their logo and go, oh, is this a new beer? You actually engage with the brand a lot more.
I like that too.
Yeah.
And speaking on the freshness, I just want to put this out real quick because I screwed it up recently. I went for one of my favorite beers that I buy a ton of all the time, and my local place had a keg of it. And I was like, oh, this is great. And I didn't think twice. I took the keg, I brought it home, I tapped it, and tasted a little lackluster. I look at the tag on the keg, and it had been sitting at my retailer for several months. Several months. And it was one of my favorite hoppy beers. And so this is kind of to the point that JP's making, too, that both of you are making. I went for the brand. I went for the logo. I love this beer, but I sort of forgot to look at the born-on date.
Yeah.
Just because I love the beer, it's going to be fine. It's not always fine. And so with Reuben's, now I look at his logo, and you're right. It's pretty much guaranteed to be a new beer.
Exactly.
I like that.
Question for you about recipe, Adam. Recipe development. In taking your homebrew recipes to the pro level, did you find you had to change things quite a bit to get them to scale, or was it pretty linear?
There's a little bit of science and a little bit of art, So hop isomerization, there's really no way of knowing how the difference between like a 5-barrel, 7-barrel batch and a 15-gallon batch. So I made some estimates on that, and I think we're pretty close, straight from the start. The one thing that sort of frustrates me is when people talk about percentages of grain bills. So like base is 70%, blah blah, because that really does change significantly between your different brew house sizes. So some grains do scale proportionately. So your specialty grains, like already converted grains, like caramel or roast, the specialty sort of malts. But your base grains are going to change depending on the efficiency of the brew house. So what I do is I scale everything proportionally, and then in the brewing software, then bring down, obviously scale everything proportionally, change the your brew house efficiency to the bigger brew house, which is obviously more efficient. Like ours is around 82% versus my old homebrew system, which is around 70.
Okay,
and then you can then bring down the base malts, which is fine for things like a porter or an imperial IPA, something like that. But when you're looking at like a Roggen beer, where you've got multiple base malts which all contribute flavor, like the rye malt, the Munich and your pills, that gets a little bit more tricky. Does that make sense?
Yeah. See, that's very interesting. I had heard some people's opinion of the opposite at times, that the specialty malts needed to be dialed down on a commercial scale, and that the base malts, you would get a similar percentage, or it would scale in a more easier way from the homebrew level. It's interesting to hear your account of this, being that the specialty malts, because they're already converted, the extract efficiency basically stayed the same, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because there's no conversion that will be impacted by the relative efficiencies of the two different brew houses.
What about the SRM contribution from the specialty malts?
Yeah, your relative the relative amount of like roast in a porter will change. So your SRM is different. That's where the sort of art comes in. Into the process. It's not just all science. It's,
right.
Touchy feely stuff.
What size system is your Pro Brewery?
So we I deliberately wanted to double batch into tanks because that would give us more. Being a smaller system, it would give us more margin for error, so we can counteract different. Like original gravity of the first batch, if that comes in high, then we can go in lower on the second, and vice versa. We got 10 and 20 barrel fermenters, and we double batch 5s into the 10 and 4 5s into the 20. But we could squeeze 7 out of the brew house, but we've never done that.
Okay.
We're basically doing 5s.
I really like your explanation of that method. We've heard of people double batching before, and it's more because you can buy the bigger fermenters for cheaper than the bigger brew system. But you really make an excellent point that if there's some blending involved between the two batches, that you could really correct a lot of things.
Yeah, and early on, it's a shot in the dark what efficiency your new system is going to get. You've got no idea. Like when we first... So first of all, the first guy that installed our brew house, he... blew up the burner on us, so it he didn't install it correctly, so it sort of melted itself from the inside.
Did I do your install?
That was
nice. And then he charged us, and then he ran. It was like,
well, yeah,
wow.
Well, he did the work. Come on.
yeah,
that's sort of funny. So then we got another burner, and then we called up the manufacturer and said, well, what BTU should we set it at? And they said 250,000. And then the first batch, we literally spent the whole 60 minutes just keeping it from overflowing, boil over. It was far too vigorous, and we ended up dialing it down to like 190, so 20% less. But so that first batch, like all of the hop volatiles had totally evaporated.
Right.
Because you're burning it like crazy.
Well, you should.
So you gotta play with it at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would expect that first brew to be, as everybody. I mean, most new breweries they don't expect much out of that first brew.
Sure, but even as an ongoing process,
were you able to drink the beer at the end?
Oh yeah, good question.
I mean, well, it ends well.
Yeah, that beer is one of our staples. So I adjusted the recipe based off of that loss of the volatiles. I brought down the
see you had
the aroma hops.
Couldn't repeat the process, so you had to adjust the recipe.
Yeah. So when the boil was turned down, then we could replicate it. But 2 weeks after we opened, one of the local magazines called us because they rated that beer the best local brew in the city. So
awesome. And you're like, I'm not surprised. It was a perfect brew day.
It's something I've been working on for a long time in my head. I just kind of came together.
We figured right out of the chute we'd hit a winner,
Yeah.
Yeah. Adam has a good sense of guiding the process as he goes along. You get that impression. A lot of homebrewers really struggle with that, I think. Do you think that's something that was intuitive to you before you started production brewing?
Yeah, I think if you're comfortable with, it is art and science, and if you're comfortable with the parameters that you got to play within from a sort of scientific guideline sort of point of view, and you're comfortable where you're going to play within those parameters, then you've got your road sort of set, and you can play either side of that. And my old job in finance was sort of like that, where there were certain rules, but then you had a lot of play within that. So my sort of psyche is sort of set like that. So I think it does help. I'm not overly scientific, but I know enough. I know there are a lot of people who know a lot more of the science, but you got to appreciate it's an iterative process as well.
Because you were never a production brewer before the brewery that you opened.
No.
See, since I'm completely uncomfortable with both of the parameters that you have mentioned, I, as a homebrewer, I'm actually really liking this double. I can do the double batch thing. Like, instead of me doing a 10-gallon batch, I should be doing 2 5-gallons so that when I inevitably fuck up that first 5 gallons, maybe I can fix it with the second.
Like you're shooting for 1050 and you got 30,
which happens all the time to me, or vice versa. And I'm being relatively serious. I really do like this I can fix it along the way process. You know,
it's pretty cool.
I might have to try. I might have to give this a shot, Adam. I'll get back to you.
So you're gonna have to learn how to brew. Really, is what?
No,
that's part of brewing.
This is how I always take these things.
Right.
I'm always looking for the way that I can just stay just as shitty as I am, not comfortable with the art or the science, and figure out a way to make good beer anyway. And I think Adam's helping me do that.
Good luck. It's taken 8 years.
Yeah,
you're almost there.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this beer that's in our glass before we move on, because it's running out quickly. We're all enjoying it so much.
Yeah.
What did you pour us?
Oh, this is the Robust Porter. And Adam, you'll be happy to know that JP quickly blew through his first serving and then filled up a second and blew right through that. And if you knew how infrequent that was for guest beers, you'd be very happy.
Yeah.
And you would have sent more beer, too.
Yeah, if my opinion mattered, you would be happy as well.
Right. So tell us about this beer.
So this was one of the homebrew recipes that I scaled up for the commercial system, and I designed the recipe to style, to the BJCP style guidelines, and the first 3 competitions it went in, it won gold in all 3. So it's like,
wow.
Right, we've got our porter set. We're not going to change that recipe.
Yeah.
So with this sort of the sort of tweaks to it, it's 1056, so it's just got a clean American yeast on it. But the sort of things that's slightly unusual, so we use a British black malt, Baird's Black. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to balance the caramel and the char in this beer. Traditional porters, caramel and char, and then stouts are more sort of creaminess and the roast.
Okay.
So with this, we got probably about 5% Baird's Black, and then caramel probably is about 11% in the grain bill, and most of it is C40 and a little bit of C80. See, that's one of the things that I like. I like not to be constrained by having a production efficiency needs, So whenever we have caramel in, we have 2 different types of caramel. In this beer, we have Marisota and Gambrinus Pale.
Okay.
So we split the base malts as well. And then there's some Munich and pale chocolate to sort of round out the roast. So pale chocolate is a Thomas Fawcett pale chocolate, which is about a 250 lever bond.
Okay. And what's the Munich for?
Again, to sort of help give some of that more malty sort of body. Yeah, we mash pretty high, like 153, 154.
Okay.
We brewed this beer today, actually, and we hit 154 and 153 on the 2 batches, so. And then, single infusion rest, some baking soda to get the pH where we want it to be. And then we add some gypsum calcium chloride just to get the water profile pretty neutral. I think just cascade bittering and a 10-minute addition.
It's interesting that you you're in the Pacific Northwest, but it's still with the rest of the style you just described that you went with Pacific Northwest hops.
Yeah. Do you get much of the Cascade in there?
Yeah, flavor. Sorry, I thought you meant down here where we live. We get plenty. No, I don't actually.
It's pretty subtle, but it's there a little bit.
Just a little bit in the background, just to add some complexity. And our dry stout has Goldings in. I just think this adds a nice little twist.
I think it works well. It works great. I guess I'm just surprised in general that you didn't go with an English hop.
Yeah, lots of our beers actually have like British malts, but then American hops. So I don't know that I've even like the Goldings that we use is a US Golding. So I don't think I've got any EKG in the brewery at all. I don't think there's too much apart from a few British malts, there's not too much, and me, there's not much British in it.
Right. Well, they go together well. It's not a bad decision. I don't mean to say that. They actually go together quite nicely.
You mentioned C40 and C80 as the crystal malts. A lot of people seem to favor the English versions of those, but by the numbers that you gave, it suggests you're using the American variations of crystal malts. Is that what you prefer?
Yeah. If you've got something that works, I don't like necessarily changing it. So Brews Caramel, I really do like Brews Caramel for the crystal malts. And we haven't really moved. I haven't thought of moving away from that. And like C120, Caramel 120 as well appears in some of the recipes.
You're winning homebrew golds with them. Why mess with them? Right?
Yeah.
No, they do have different flavor profiles, and people get very specific about saying, we use English C55 or American Crystal 40 or something. So it's a very deliberate choice sometimes.
Yeah. Like I will try in a bitter when we do a bitter. I'll probably use like the British. Is it like C75? I think it's like the middle crystal or whatever.
Right.
I'll use that just to try and see how that works. But it's as much an experiment for me as it is anything else.
You mentioned the use of baking soda and gypsum and calcium chloride as well. Are you building your water from RO, or are you changing what you get from the city?
Yeah. So the city gives you a report every 6 months of what is in the water profile, but I didn't trust that, so I got our water analyzed off of the tap just to make sure. And it was spot on. It was very little difference. It's really the only thing our water up here has got is chlorine in it, so we have a carbon filter in line to take out the chlorine. So you're really virtually starting from scratch. It's not RO, but it's pretty close. To not having too much in there. So, and I generally try and keep a pretty neutral water profile on our beers. I don't put tons of gypsum in an IPA. I think you should let the hops do the work rather than the water profile.
Okay, I got to take us to a quick break, Adam.
Sure.
But then we've got more of your beer to try, which I think everybody's looking forward to.
Yes.
Good.
Adam Robbings from Reuben's Brews is on the line with us. JP's in the chat room. You can get your questions over to me. I've got a couple in front of me already. Or you can call 888-401-BEER, however you want to do it. We're going to talk more with Adam Robbings from Reuben's Brews when we come back. Go check out ReubensBrews.com if you want to look over the beer list, too. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
Listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small. Single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit!
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
BN Army, I'm here to talk seriously for a second. You all are partially responsible for something explosive, and it's time you answer for it.
Moonlight Meadery is exploding.
Yeah, exploding across the country. Wait, they just landed in Australia with insane quality meads.
With nearly 70 different varieties of mead on the market, Moonlight Meadery has blown up the mead category and completely reinvented it.
Seriously?
What?
Seriously?
What?
You're paying money for that watered-down mead when you could have a Moonlight mead?
Moonlight meads explode with quality and flavor.
They're a party in a bottle.
Did someone say party?
If you want mead and want the best, you want meads from Moonlight Meadery and will accept nothing less.
Be a part of the BN Mead explosion and ask for, no, demand Moonlight Meads at your favorite bottle shop.
Moonlight Meads. Girly names, manly meads.
Hey, sign me up for that party.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zanishev, and I love a bold, hoppy beer, one that spits resin in your face and makes you cry uncle. There are a lot of great hoppy beers out there, but at Heretic, we want to make something as bold, dank, and resiny as possible. We use hops at every chance we get, including multiple dry hop additions. The result is Heretic Evil Cousin. This light golden, 8% Imperial IPA has an easy malt character that helps take the edge off the massive bittering, but it takes a back seat to the in-your-face hop character. We make sure this beer finishes dry so the hops can jump out and slam you in the taste buds. If you can't get enough hoppy goodness, Evil Cousin is your cup of tea. Cheers.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. New items include the Big Oxygen Kit for economical wart aeration using common welding oxygen tanks, and the Unistat line of external thermostats for easy control of both electric heaters and refrigerators. In addition, they've just mashed their new oatmeal stout malt extract, so you can make those tasty winter oatmeal stouts and porters without mashing. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Hey, Wooly, I'm beat. Can we find a nice tree to just hang out in for a while?
You're beat. I've been swinging through this forest for 50 years, ever since we first escaped from the circus.
I know, but there's got to be more to life than exploring this creek and trying to populate the valley by copulating with loose, hairy girls.
Marquis, stop. Look.
What is that?
It looks like a man-made treehouse.
With fresh food.
And craft beer.
Welcome to the Creek Monkey Tap House, boys. Grab a seat. Creek Monkeys drink free.
Awesome!
The Creek Monkey Tap House in Martinez, California takes their mission of fresh food and beer seriously. They only serve locally raised beef and chicken, as well as local sustainable produce. It's better for you and the planet, and it just tastes better. The beer and wine at Creek Monkey Tap House are chosen with the same care for the highest quality and rotate frequently to make each visit an adventure. Swing on into the Creek Monkey Tap House and enjoy a new legend of amazing food, beer, and wine. The Creek Monkey Tap House, online at creekmonkey.com.
What's funny is brewers will say, yeah, I don't brew to style. I'm brewing my own beer, and it's like a German Pilsner, but it's black. Yeah, it's a sports beer. You know,
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session. You're tuned into The Session.
Because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. Real quick, as we're talking to Adam from Reuben's Brews, if you are listening to some of his recipe formulations and techniques and you need a place to go put that all together in one place, you can head over to beersmith.com right now and get a free 21-day trial of the Beersmith homebrewing software. It works both on your PC and your Mac. There is a mobile app that'll work on your iPad and your phone. You can create recipes there. You can share recipes, thousands upon thousands of recipes over on beersmith.com. We all use it here, and you don't really have to take our word for it because Brad over there there at Beersmith gives you the free 21-day trial to check it out yourself. If you don't like it, no big deal. But you don't have to calculate by hand. You can design fantastic beers, brew with confidence by using the Beersmith home brewing software. Go check it out right now. In the meantime, Adam Robbings from Reuben's Brews is on the line with us. You can go check out the beer descriptions and the brewery by going to reubensbrews.com or, go visit them in Seattle, Washington. Adam, I wanted to know a little bit about this neighborhood you're in because I'm told that you have like 10 other breweries just in your neighborhood.
Yeah. So Ballard, so it's the north, sort of west part of Seattle neighborhood. So originally, probably like 5 years ago, Maritime and Hales were the two breweries in the area.
I've been to Hales, so I know the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Red Hook originally, the very first Red Hook brewery was in Ballard as well. And when we opened, we were the 6th brewery, I think, in Ballard, and now there's 10.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool in the summer because you get a lot of people doing walking tours. Like literally, there is a brewery a block away from us, and then another brewery 2 blocks away from them. So like it's a pretty high density for and we have a nice ecosystem. Like we ran out of some sanitizer, so we borrowed some from our neighbor. They ran out of, their yeast order wasn't coming in for another day, so they took some of our yeast, and we sort of help each other with hops, and it helps us out on our side as well as I think it brings people to the area. There's more to see, and
Sure.
you get lots of people visiting.
Is there a saturation point? I mean, are you at one point? Are you just taken away from each other?
We haven't seen it yet. I don't know when that would be. There's more and more people coming. So, like in the summer, there are these bikes that I've forgotten what they're called, but like they have 15 people sit on it. It's like a bar.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Pedal pub.
They're pretty awesome, actually. Okay,
They're pretty cool.
Yeah,
and they we can get 3 or 4 of those come by us a day.
Nice.
Going to all these different pubs, and there's 2 or 3 of them operating now in the area, and then we're getting a lot of benefits from having a lot of good breweries close together.
Yeah, I would do that in Martinez, except you'd have to wear flak jackets on the bike, and also there's only one brewery, so you would just keep going around the block and landing back at Creek Monkey,
which is fine because all the armor plating, you couldn't really go very far.
You couldn't exercise
a lot
that
of hard
much.
pedaling for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like a great neighborhood you have over there.
Yeah, it is. We're very proud to be part of that. It's a good time to be a brewery in Ballard for sure.
Okay.
What do you think the cap is for that neighborhood?
Well, that's what I was
like
asking. What's the saturation point? Yeah, and he's not sure.
Well, there's not many locations available anymore, I don't think.
Right.
We've been at capacity since last, to be honest, since last February. Then we got a 20 barrel in, and then we've been literally whenever a tank's free, we're filling it since about last June. So we've been looking at, we have 2 offsite storage units, literally like 2 miles away from the brewery that we store our kegs in, the empties and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we need more space, but there's nothing around at all.
Wow, you don't even have space to store kegs. It's just, you guys are full up.
Yeah, it's a small space, and it's only 1,500 square feet, and we're going to brew we're on a run rate of around 800 barrels a year. That's where we're at now.
Okay.
And we have the tasting room within that 1,500 square feet. So when we designed it, we wanted people to be in the brewery, not like through a window, like looking at a brewery through a window or door or something.
Yeah.
And so we moved benches in front of the fermenters to sort of block them off when we're got a tasting room, and then we move them out of the way when we're brewing.
Okay.
Literally, the brewer's platform folds up when we're open as a tasting room, then we fold it down when we're brewing, because you won't be able to get through to the restroom otherwise.
It's in the way.
You're going to take your head off.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Instead of vision of people pissing in the floor drains or something.
I like that.
I
It's
think one
less
person
of a...
wanted to once. There was
really?
There was a line, and this guy was complaining about really complaining that why is the line so long? And there was 2 people in front of him, nothing.
Right.
But he was wearing light khaki pants.
Oh no!
And we realized I think he had pissed himself.
Oh no!
Not good.
Get in line sooner, you drunken idiot.
Wear a diaper.
I mean, come on, rookie. I was going to pee. Don't mind me. I'll pee in your floor drain.
Yeah.
Wow.
More
I do like that it's less of a tasting room. I mean, it sounds like it's a tasting room, but it's a brewery. Your tasting room is the brewery itself. I'm right in there with you.
Yeah,
I like that. So. That's a good model. 1,500 square feet. That's a small model.
Yeah,
small.
But now, so let me back up just a second to ask about that. So you come over here with a job in 2004, and then you meet your bride-to-be, and you get into beer and the whole thing. At one point when you're doing all that home brewing and winning the awards and subsequently planning Reuben's Brews, have you lost your job? Like they wanted you to move back to the UK, or are you working all the way up until you open the brewery?
So I got my green card through work in 2007. So they were never going to pull me back or throw me out.
Okay.
But I carried on working. So we signed the lease in November 2011. And the reason we went for that size was because if it didn't work out, we could carry on paying the lease and I could carry on working. You know, we wouldn't lose the house. It was sort of like a sort of a risk aversion.
Sure, yeah.
It was like a proof of concept. And so I carried on working through until April 2013. So I carried on working for about a year and a half into having the lease. So I was like at night working on the build out all the time. And then when we opened, I would take vacation days to do brew days with my brother-in-law. And we brewed the first 50 batches together. And I was training him. And then since then, he's really taken it up magnificently, and he's a big reason of why we're doing so well.
That's cool. Your brother-in-law worked out.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that never happens.
That never happens.
That's fantastic.
You sure? You're just looking at it through rose-colored glasses.
Right.
He may not have the same views.
Nice.
Yeah. He's like, boy, that brother-in-law of mine sure sucks.
Probably quitting right
now. Okay.
Yeah. So I was working until April, and then when we started bottling, I quit the day job because I knew when we started bottling, it was going to be too much logistics to keep both roles.
Okay.
When you go back to the UK now, does it feel like you're going home, or does the US feel like you're home now?
Yeah, I feel like I'm sort of mid-Atlantic. So like when I'm here, I sound different, and some people can't understand me. You can go to Starbucks and somebody's asked me, what is my native language?
Did that really happen?
That's just Starbucks.
That did. They thought I was...
I love that story.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And when I go home, I say the wrong words. So like I would say store instead of shop, or
diaper
instead of nappy. And so I don't fit in there anymore. So I'm sort of midway in a boat somewhere.
Wait, what was the second example?
Nappy.
Diaper instead of nappy.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So when you say store in England, do they really go, I don't understand? Because like you say shop, and I go...
sounds like a dick move.
Yeah, and I go, yeah, we're going to the shops. I get it, that's fine. But I'm fluent in two languages, apparently.
You don't go, huh? The what? The shop?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just an excuse to give me grief,
I think so.
Definitely.
Oh, we're going to go to the high street. What, are we going to get stoned? I don't understand.
Kate the Great... my girlfriend's British. She has the same issue, but it's as simple as ordering water. Like if she orders water, they look at her like, "What's that? We're not a full bar here." And it often happens that she tries to repeat herself a couple times until finally she puts on her Valley Girl accent and goes, "I would like a glass of water. Just give me." And then they go, "Oh, water."
Yeah, there's a D in water,
But she still, it's the principle of the thing. She doesn't want to be treated like you were treated, like this is not her like what is your native language? So she'll say water,
throw the Valley Girls under the bus.
She'll do it 3 times before finally she'll give in and go, "You fucking asshole, water! I want water."
I try twice, and then I normally ask my wife to ask.
Yeah, you have to pass the buck at that point.
Well, but if a Valley Girl goes to England and asks for a water, do they go, huh?
Yes. Just like they don't know where the store is.
The what?
All right, what is the beer we have in our glass now, Scott?
This, very generously of Adam, is the Imperial Stout, aged in bourbon barrels. It's got a nice gold wax seal on it, and the bottle is numbered. How many did you make, Adam?
Yeah, I think 442.
We have 3, 4, 5.
Oh, nice. That's extremely limited edition then, isn't it?
Yeah, so when we, I think we brewed it in October, just after we opened in August, and I got a couple of barrels. When you only have when you're buying a few barrels, it's sort of hard to get any of the brokers to return your calls. So I put a posting on the Brewers Association sort of forum, and Alan from Hair of the Dog responded and said, "Yeah, I've got a couple spare. Come down and pick them up." So I got a couple of Heaven Hills 15-year-old bourbon barrels from him.
Okay.
And we put this beer in, let it age, and we released it last October. So it was a year old when we released it.
I tell you, it seems like Heaven Hill is like the go-to bourbon barrel for craft beer.
Barrel.
It's everywhere.
And, he just Hair of the Dog is another very prestigious example, in my opinion, of great barrel-aged beer. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really lucky, and this year I needed a few more because I want to obviously rebrew it again. We sold out in an hour.
Wow.
We poured it at a festival in the summer, just at one keg.
Okay.
And then we poured it on a couple of events at the brewery, and it took me a long time to get the label designed and get the logistics sorted, and I was not in a rush because I thought the beer was only going to get better anyway. So when we did release it in October, people had it in festivals and stuff, and literally there was a line around the block, and we opened the doors at noon. We reduced the maximum from 4 to 2 bottles per person, and I still had people outside that I had to go and apologize to because we sold out. It was
and so this is not through promotion. This is through word of mouth from the couple of times you've poured it previously.
Yeah.
Adam, I heard that you not only just apologized to people, but you went down the line shaking hands and apologizing directly instead of just making an announcement. Is that true?
Yeah, we had people literally outside the door and down the side, so I went outside and I just felt really bad, It's like, you've come here and you waited in the line, and what we did as well, and was actually have it on tap, a keg on tap as well. So the people in the line, even though they weren't going to get a bottle, they could at least try it still. So
wow, what a softie, Adam!
That's pretty nice.
Did anybody react badly?
I didn't get headbutted.
Yeah,
we're at Seattle.
I get maybe you would have had you not had it on tap for them.
Yeah, look, nobody
in Manchester.
Nobody pissed in his floor drains, if that's what you mean. Right?
Not that day.
That's very nice of you, actually. And that's a pretty good solution too, to say, look, we've got it on tap. We can get you a taste. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. So what we did with this beer is, the version that you're drinking there is the first batch out of the barrel.
Okay.
Which then that batch I sent to White Labs to get to make sure there's no critters in there, basically.
Okay.
And then the second, then we re-put more of the beer back into the barrel, and that batch I didn't have tested, so those are the ones that we put on tap. So I was comfortable what was going in a bottle wouldn't be infected. I didn't. There's always a risk. So when I went down to Hair of the Dog, I asked Alan, do you rinse the barrels? Because it seems counterintuitive to me, because if you rinse them, aren't you going to rinse out the goodness that you want in the beer? And he said no, he just fills them.
Know that he does not rinse them either?
Yeah, he doesn't rinse them.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
So, and because of that, I wanted to get it tested in a lab just to make sure. But it came out clean, and we got the green light. So then this year, I got four 30-year-old barrels from Alan. He had left over, so I'm looking forward to rebrewing that beer and getting it aging again.
Yeah, I want to talk about this base beer in a second, but I do want to point out that I like your philosophy of sending it in to getting tested. And we've talked on this show about how one of the last things that small breweries spend money on is a lab and being able to test the beer themselves and make sure it's not contaminated and things like that. But there are technologies available, like White Labs offers a QC testing all the time, and it's
not that much.
It's so affordable, and I do think that brewers still skip that step, going, well, it's going to be fine, and it's not part of our program. But you don't have your own lab, so you sent it off to a very qualified one to do it for you. I really like your thought process.
You send the whole barrel to them?
No, you just have to send a sample. If it's coming out of the barrel, So whatever that barrel
sample
is
the barrel. I
doing
see.
is doing to whatever sample you send. And it's such an easy thing to do. You're outsourcing your lab to a highly qualified lab, and then it comes back, and now Adam, like he mentioned, is certain that the beer is as pure as he wants it.
He can sleep at night. He sent out like 400 cases of beer that he doesn't know if it's going to... Yeah.
Not to mention that he wanted to add more to that barrel, but you don't want to do that if it's a
bad batch. Yeah.
So I commend you on thinking outside the box. Well, I don't have a lab, but I've got a lab available to me. I'll just send in a sample.
How long does it have to sit in the barrel before you can test it?
I gave it 4 months, then tried it, and then that beer in the end had like 6 months, I think, in the barrel, and then 6 months out of the barrel.
Okay.
The beer that you're drinking there. The other good thing about the lab analysis is that it tells you the IBUs, so then your isomerization estimates are correct or not.
Nice, yeah.
So you can feed it back into your recipe process as well.
Yeah. So tell me about the base beer that went into the barrel.
Yeah, so that one, literally, we designed this recipe based off of the size of the mash tun. So we basically filled it, and then we only got 4 barrels a batch out of this beer. So it's essentially... I try to restrain some of the roast in there, so like it's not like a Russian Imperial Stout where you get that big sort of roasty up front. It uses a lot more debittered black malt in there, some roast barley, and about 6% oats. Give it that sort of smooth, creamy sort of mouthfeel with an Irish yeast on it, Y yeast Irish ale. The OG on it was... We had a 2-hour boil to get the OG up to where we wanted it, it ended up, off the top of my head, around 1092, I think.
Was that the plan? The 2-hour boil?
We ideally wanted to get a little higher than that, and less ABV from the barrel. But we got ideally wanted it 1096, and it came out 1092.
Okay.
But we got more ABV from the barrel, so we net was equivalent, and that's how we can say it's exactly 11.9% because it's been tested.
Right. I guess I ask if that was the plan because I'm thinking about hop additions for a 2-hour boil. Did you wait the first hour to add your bittering hops?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah,
okay.
I did, yeah. And we were trying to get up to 60 IBUs, but because you're drinking a beer now that, is well over a year old, those IBUs are softened out, and I think the barrel helps soften it as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty smooth. And I was trying to get it so that it's a beer and a barrel, and so you get the bourbon, you get the vanilla, you get the oak, but you get a beer in there as well.
Yeah.
And you're not overdosing on bourbon.
Good call on that. It has a lot of flavors of some of the best really old beers I've had, but without the bullshitty ones that you have to deal with.
What do you mean?
Well, like I really like musty flavors in an aged beer, but let's be honest, if it's a 10-year-old J.W. Lee or whatever, even though I like those musty flavors, it's too much.
Yeah, usually getting too much sherry along with it or something
too much
like
sherry, too much prune, any of these things they're nice, but when it's really that old, it's too much. This has... I can tell it's an aged beer, but without all of the over-the-top aged flavors. It's really well done. It's right. I would say it's in its prime, in my opinion.
The restrained roast is a really nice twist. It really sets it apart from a lot of the other aged imperial stouts.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. Now, so 6 months then in the barrel that base beer goes into. Any dry hopping happen in the barrel or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
So we didn't rinse it at all, the barrel. So when we put the beer in, you could see all the char floating in there, literally like the charcoal from the inside of the barrel. So we would, after like 4 months, I would just taste it to make, when I got the balance of the flavors coming through,
mm-hmm.
I could taste everything. That's when I pulled it out, so, but we still had some in kegs. So if I had left it in there a bit too long and it got sort of overpowered by bourbon, then I was fully expecting that I might have to use some of those kegs to sort of blend it back.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But I didn't need to. I think it's nice to give yourself escape clauses all the time.
Sure. No, I really like that philosophy.
That's what you should do.
Yeah. So 6 months in the barrel, and then it sits for another 6 in stainless?
Yes.
Okay. And just in kegs at that point, or in a big bright tank, or what?
In kegs.
And are those in a temperature-controlled environment, or do you just let it ride?
No, those are in our cooler, so
okay.
38, 40 degrees.
Yeah.
So does that just kind of halt all processes at that temperature then?
I don't
it
think
slows
so.
them all down.
There you go, yeah.
But it slows them down.
It doesn't halt them. Otherwise, go ahead and sell the beer at that point. But it definitely, it controls it, it slows them down.
Some clarity, give it, it'll settle out and everything.
And I think some of these flavors that we're talking about that are not present, too much sherry or mustiness or anything like that, was kept at bay because of that. Temperature controlled in stainless for another 6 months.
And those things would appear if you left it there long enough, even at 38 degrees?
I'm not the guy to answer that, but I think yes.
Long enough, yes, but probably outside reason, like years and years. Yeah.
I mean, some of the really well-aged beers that I'm talking about are literally like 10, 15-year-old barley wines like J.W. Lee's and some of these others that I just happened to, someone was opening one and I got to put my glass under it. And I loved some of these characteristics, but you're dealing with a bunch of shitty characteristics at the same time.
No, as a home brewer, if I make a strong beer that would typically be aged and it's in stainless, I'll usually leave it at cellar temperature. I don't refrigerate it intentionally to make it get older sooner. Like get its what it's typically going to taste like down the road.
Yeah.
Then drink it.
I think you treated this one well. And then you bottled it from these kegs for the sale that you described, the day that the whole world showed up. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the sort of delays was we hadn't bottled a beer that wasn't just straight out of a fermenter with just a standard malt hops beer. So when you're playing with other recipe ingredients, I don't know, spices, or in this case the barrel, you have to go through a different process at the TTB, and they have to approve your recipe.
Right.
And so, like, one of the questions was the barrel wet? So are you adding bourbon in? And it wasn't wet, so we got through it. But it was that process alone took another month for them to get back to me. So it takes a long time.
Now, did you? Excuse me. Are these bottle conditioned, or did you carbonate when you put them in stainless?
We carbonated when they went in stainless.
Got it. I think that's a smart decision, too. I know everyone wants to say, be pure and whatever. You had control over it. You could just do it. It was going to be sitting there in stainless anyway. Do it that way.
Predictable results.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we can get to 1.9 volumes. I know what that's 1.9 volumes CO2, and I haven't got a warm room, so I can't guarantee the carbonation if I don't force carbonate.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you can't leave it at that low cellar temp, can you? You got to warm it up a bit. So now, so you're doing this again. You've got some more barrels. What are you going to do about the capacity issue next batch around with that line of people?
Yeah, so we got four barrels this time, so it's not much of an increase. But so we're going to basically put more of it in barrels. I've also got some small Woodinville whiskey barrels that we can play with. So we just brewed an Imperial Porter, so I can play with that. And I want to do a rye wine and put them in some rye whiskey barrels. So we can play with these little barrels. So we got I don't know. There's four. We got four of those as well. But really, we're so constrained with space and with volume that we need to find a bigger space. But we're not going to move out of Ballard, So that sort of gives us a little catch-22.
Sure.
Why don't you open a barrel room where you move Ward over there to do its thing just in barrels?
That would be great, but we still can't make the beer to put in the barrels. That's
you're at maximum production now.
Yeah,
but I thought you were at maximum fermenter production. What if you just did a quick ferment in stainless and moved it over to barrels really quick?
When we've got a tank free, we need to brew into it just for our ongoing sort of
Sure, for
just to serve that tasting room.
And accounts you've already got.
Not to mention your 50 or 60 accounts too.
Yeah. So we're sort of there's a lot of things that we'd like to do. Like the Imperial Porter we managed to do just because the way the timing worked out over the holidays. We managed to squeeze it in, and we're doing a triple IPA next week. So I've spoken to a few other breweries, and without Russian River isn't distributed up here anymore, so we don't get the Pliny, the younger anymore. So
sorry about that. we get more now.
Yeah.
So. And there was a few of us interested, so what I thought I'd do, I reached out, and we've got 12 breweries now, all brewing triple IPAs, and I've arranged 5 different locations that we're going to pour them at. So we're going to have like a triple IPA roadshow, we're calling it. So it'll be a lot of fun. So we're brewing ours next week, 10.5% with 3 dry hops and basically hop bursting, 10 minutes and in. So yeah, awesome. it'll be fun. So like, and it's literally just from speaking to other breweries that we managed to get a dozen, and then hopefully next year it will take off and we'll have a few more.
That's a good way around
that's
it.
Quite a few. Do you guys get Heretic up there?
No.
I don't think it's distributed up there. Okay, too bad, because they're going to have one probably in time for your event, but you don't get distribution.
Yeah. No, we those like Elysian is going to be part of it. Ourselves and another couple local breweries in Ballard as well. So I think there's 3 Ballard breweries, and then there's Georgetown. So I think it ranges from Georgetown, the biggest, to Populux as the smallest brewery, which is a 1.5 barrel nano, to Georgetown, which is, I think they do about 50,000 barrels. So we got a nice mix of different size breweries, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be fun.
Excellent. We've got another beer in front of us, which I'd like to talk about. I also have a couple questions from the chat, so why don't I do that real quick so we can make sure our listeners get their questions answered. Riley had written in toward the beginning of the interview that he wanted to know how you recommend mashing your specialty malts. And he gives an example. One of our famous homebrew guys who does the show with us every now and then, Gordon Strong, he likes to steep his specialty malts in his homebrew, as an example, to decrease the bitterness. So he's just wondering if there's any special treatment on your end for specialty malts.
Yeah, we don't do anything different our side. What I do though is always put in the base malt first and leave the specialty till last, and then only add the water addition when we're adding in the specialty malts. So that sort of comes back from when we're brewing with a lot of rye and flake rye, and you can get a lot of stuck mashes. So we try and leave everything that's not a base malt until the end, and that's when I add the water addition to get the pH where I want it to be.
So does that mean that the specialty malts just sit on top of the base malt grain bed, or is it still all being mixed together?
It's essentially staying at the top. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll mix it in, but not vigorously. So we'll try and keep it at the top with the water addition.
Sure. So mostly it's kind of the recirculation that or the sparging, for that matter, that gets it all down in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a good technique. We talked about that before on the homebrew side, where Doc likes to add, if he's using like black malt or really roasted malt, it only gets put on top of a mash at the end, right?
I like to do that sort of thing too. You can really limit the impact of it that way if you don't want a really acrid roasty sort of thing.
Sure.
Couldn't you just use less, or for the?
Well, not if you're talking. There's 2 things at play. Some of it is color.
Exactly.
So to get the right amount of color, you can't use less. If you are talking about some of the flavors, then that might be true, right? You could use less to get less of those acrid flavors, but then you're sacrificing SRM.
There's grain choices too. I mean, like you taste this imperial stout that we have here, and it has a low roast, big chocolate licorice type of quality, and gives you the impression that very low amounts of roasted barley were used. You could take that sort of route too, and use chocolate malts and things like that to sort of dial in the color.
It's a good question, though, because there are also other flavors that you do want contributed. So if you were to reduce it, you're reducing those as well.
And colors as well. I mean, if you do want the color, you're not going to get it if you use top mash.
Yeah. All right, another one came through. You had to expect this one, being a UK guy. It's going to be about camera, Adam.
Oh, yeah.
So Spider Wrangler in our chat room, he wrote in. He's wondering just your take on the U.S. versus the UK beer scene. You mentioned when you left there wasn't much of a craft beer scene, but maybe how it is now. And then the following question is, what is the impact that you think Camera has had on that UK beer scene?
Yeah, so on the beer scene there now is awesome. We went back in November, and I was lucky enough to go and have a look around Camden Brewing, and they're doing an amazing job. Their flagship is a Helles Lager, really nice location. It's under a railway line, so it's in the sort of arches of a railway. So you have to go through. Do you know what I mean? Like a brick arches underneath a railway line, like a railway bridge.
Oh yeah. That's excellent.
They're like tasting room is in one of them. Some of their fermenters is in the next one down. And it's have a look at it online. It's pretty amazing how they've set that up.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then Windsor and Eton as well. And Windsor and Eton is a traditional cask brewery, whereas Camden is more of a lager brewery. So when I went to Windsor and Eton, they had a temperature controlled tasting room. Like you go into this like little room where they have it set at 55 degrees cellar temp, and they had like CO2 like blankets on all of the kegs. So it's for people to come in and just taste them. It was sort of interesting to see that because I've never seen that in like real life.
Yeah.
As for Camera, I'm glad that I'm not held to their rules.
Right.
We have a Washington Cask Fest in March, and one of our most popular casks is the Imperial Rye IPA, which you're going to try now, which we dry hop with a lot of Citra in the cask and in cask condition. So it's a very un-British cask beer, but it's definitely one of our most popular.
It's always an interesting thing for me to talk about Camera with people because it's such a mixed response. In some ways, I mean, Camera's really there to do good for beer. Their goal is to protect real ale, but you get such mixed reviews sometimes on certain parts of their policies. Really do that, but then that there are others that really hinder not only progress, as you might imagine, but even some real ales that are trying to do well too, or real ale beer bars that are trying to do well. If they didn't, I'm sometimes reminded of you talking about review sites, JP, and how those can impact certain breweries. And the wrong reviewer with the best intentions can really fuck up a good brewery.
Absolutely, or at least turn away people who might enjoy their beers based on their reviews that don't mean anything.
And so I'm always left with the impression of the same thing, that the wrong Camera person could really screw up an otherwise good, well-intentioned or good brewery or good beer experience. Then there's vice versa, where they really do well for beer if people are trying to pass real ale that's not real ale.
Yeah.
Anyway, Adam, I'm just saying that the answers are so diverse. I'm always interested in hearing them.
I think they're definitely the right thing and needed in the UK. Because literally when I left, the big breweries were still ruling the roost. You know?
Yeah.
But here, the great thing about the US is that we can brew whatever we want. We're not pigeonholed into whether it's abides by Camera guidelines or whatever.
Right.
This beer is good for itself, and that's really what it should be, But in the UK, to get to that point, I think they needed a push,
Sure.
But we don't do too much cask. We sort of play with casks, but it's more for fun. We put a Randall in last week that we can now change every week, and that'll be fun.
Right.
To play with.
Yeah, casks are just a pain in the ass anyway. I mean, I get it; it's fun, and I've had some really awesome cask beer, but on the whole, what a pain in the ass.
Have you had any really good hoppy cask beers? I don't think cask and hoppy beers.
Not West Coast hoppy beers.
West Coast hoppy beers, they don't mix.
Not those.
No,
but I you've heard me rave about
they gotta be balanced.
The fresh hoppy ones I've had in the UK. If when done, then yes,
because they're multi beers,
and it's and they're fresh, and I'm getting the dry hop character. But other than that, like the ones that when we have like a cask, whenever there's cask night in the US, someone's having cask night. I'm going to be honest right now. I kind of avoid it like the plague. Well, it's rarely good.
Usually, they just have a keg of beer
sitting on the counter.
No, then they rack off into a smaller keg and then call that a cask.
Yeah.
It's not really a cask.
And it's not.
It's not with proper stillage and
it's already fermented when they.
It's flat beer.
I really do avoid it. Like, cask ale festival. Fuck you. I have to wash my hair that day.
That's why Camera is good for the UK and stuff like that. It's if you want to call it something, then let's define it and let's stick with it. Where you're getting in the term IPA is getting overblown. It doesn't mean anything anymore. You're talking session IPA. What does that mean? Black IPA. What does that mean? Quad IPA. You're using this term that doesn't mean anything. You're distilling the actual language.
I see what you mean. They're really protecting an actual style,
and I like that about them.
And they know what they're doing, and their styles lend itself to it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Cameron just got some positive words from us. How about that?
Our most popular cask is the Imperial Rye IPA with Citra dry hop.
Oh, I could see that. That's what we're drinking now, the Imperial Rye IPA. I could definitely see that.
Is this one dry hop with Citra as well?
Yeah, that was a lot of Citra and Amarillo.
That's probably why I can see that.
Is it available at the store or only at the shop?
So
that's just me fucking with you, Adam. Don't answer that.
He didn't understand you. Your accent was too American.
Now I'm the one with what is my native language?
Adam, I like to apologize. Sometimes Justin slips from English into American, and so he doesn't know.
Better than me.
Right.
I love having this IPA next to the barrel-aged beer because I take like 2 sips of the IPA and I want something that's more like this barrel-aged beer, and then I take 2 sips of that and I want the hoppy, dry. It's a beautiful thing, this pairing.
Yeah. We have, what is it? It's the Imperial IPA in our glass now.
Yeah, it's a rye IPA.
Oh, Imperial Rye IPA. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us more about this beer, Adam, before we go?
Yeah, this was the first beer that we ever brewed as a commercial brewery. So it's 20% rye malt and 6% flaked rye. Comes out at 8.4%. First wort hop edition, a Columbus, which you can definitely get. And we boost up the IBUs with Magnum, get it to about 80 IBUs. And then really 20 minutes and in is all predominantly Amarillo and Citra.
And do you calculate for IBUs in that first wort hop? Or did you say mash or first wort?
First wort hop.
Okay.
It smells amazing when you're brewing it, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Essentially, it's equivalent. As soon as we hit the boil, then we put in a Magnum addition just to get the IBUs where we want them to be. And essentially, so the first wort hop addition is also a 60-minute boil.
Okay. Got it. What do you think of this one, Tasty? A nice Imperial IPA.
It's very nice, very clean. Kudos to your bottler. He did a great job, whoever you're using. I like the balance in it. It's very West Coast, hop forward. Big fan of this beer.
I can't tell if the rye is subtle or the hops are dominant.
It's the spiciness of the hops. They go together.
There's rye there for sure, though.
Yeah, you can taste that, Nate. You pick it out right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Columbus really does work well with the rye.
I hear you.
Changing the mouthfeel of the beer a little bit, too. I feel like having the rye there is a protein type quality. Yeah,
I think it helps give it a maltier backbone so we can hop it pretty heavily on top. One idea I'd had, and we brewed it, is taking a Belgian yeast onto a similar wort as this and bringing up the Amarillo and pushing down the Citra. So you end up with a Belgian sort of Imperial Rye IPA. And that one won us a gold medal at the Washington Beer Awards, that beer. So Excellent. We need to brew that a little bit more.
That sounds great.
Nice twist on the recipe, too. So you mentioned CTZ in this beer normally only in the first wort, or are you using that in other places, too?
Only in the first wort in that one. Normally I would bring a hop all the way through, but I think that's such a pungent, strong hop that it didn't need much help.
And not in the mash at all, just in first wort?
Yeah, not in the mash, no, just in the first wort. Yeah.
Got it.
And do you think some of that hop flavor carries through to the beer, finished beer?
I think it does.
I'm getting it, but yeah. A lot of people probably would say it wouldn't.
In the aromatics, I think it's there just a little bit.
Well, it's sort of steeped, isn't it, at the start? And that sort of nose definitely seems to follow through. Maybe it plays well with Citra, so maybe it's something to do with the sort of Citra...
The combination.
Combination, yeah. It definitely feels to me like it does.
Adam, I just want to point out, because I like Tasty's line of questioning, and I know where it's coming from. This topic is near and dear to his heart, where there's a lot of people that say, you don't put hops in the mash, and the first wort hopping doesn't matter. You can do all of that later. But Tasty has always said, I can really taste the difference.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I think you can. Yeah, I think it adds to the beer. Yes, whether I can taste it.
Plus, Adam mentioned
says a lot
something
about my palate.
Adam mentioned something that's also important on brew day for these beers. Even if it doesn't come across in the finished beer, it smells great in the brew house.
Well, then because he smells it in the brew house, he dials into its effect.
Absolutely.
So when he tastes it now, he's probably knows where it's coming from. We have to find it in all these other great flavors.
Yeah.
Yes, I may have a bias. So.
And that too.
I do want to do one last thing with you, Adam, before you go, which is that we do a segment on the show called The Happy Hour, where we highlight brewing disasters, and we often say that, we never hear pros admit to their mistakes. So if you could just regale the audience with the time you were brewing beer with your friends and the copper heat exchanger, and I'll just stop there. You take it away.
Yeah, so a couple of friends, this was 2 or 3 years ago, came over to watch me brew and learn. And
this is homebrew, right?
Home brewing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so brewing out on the deck, and my wife was out of town, and we had just converted our basement into a couple of bedrooms and stuff. And so the brew day is going fine and everything. And I'd got a copper coil heat exchanger. So what I do is I take that into the bathroom and then hook it up to the tap in the bathroom and then run it down the sink. The water comes through the coil and then back down the sink.
Okay, yeah.
So we're outside and everything's going fine, and it's a nice sunny day, and we're just talking, and then this loudest bang happens. So I run in, and the outlet of the tube had gone out of the sink, it flipped up and then gone straight down into our ductwork, like into the air vent.
Into the house air vent.
Yeah. So it's just pumping water through our air vent system that is brand new.
Yeah.
And so I obviously stopped that down, but then run downstairs, and then the water is leaking out of the ceiling in my son's bedroom.
Right.
So just dripping. And then all of the alarms started going off, the fire alarms.
So, really? Yeah, because the ceiling's raining, basically.
Yeah, so the ceiling's raining. It's shorting all the fire alarms, which are all joined together now because we just rebuilt it all.
Yeah.
So the loudest noise, and it was my friends who were there to see me brew were helping me put pots underneath all these water dripping out. And I knew. And
were you teaching them to brew? Like, was that the principle of the day?
Teaching them how not to do it.
Yeah.
Teach them how to use 2 hose clamps instead of 1.
No. Wait, and your son is called Reuben, right?
Yeah.
So this is how we get Reuben's brews?
Yes.
Well, listen, Reuben's got to deal with a little water coming through his ceiling. That's the price you pay. He's got a brewery named after him. Oh, what a disaster that is. Of all the places the water could land, it goes right into the vent.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Did either one of those friends ever take up home brewing?
Yeah.
Your wives won't let them.
Yeah, not after that. How did the brew day go?
They destroyed their basement.
An HVAC disaster and destroyed the basement at the same time.
But otherwise, it was great.
$20,000 basement conversion I was telling you they were doing?
Well,
it's ruined. Oh, man. Well, good effort, Adam.
I love it.
Yeah, that wasn't my finest moment.
No, but I like that you share it. I'm always complaining that brewers just talk about how much they succeed, which drives me insane. I like to hear about the occasional mess up because we all do it.
Oh, well, he definitely, before he told me that story, he did tell me about the 2011 fair where he took home 7 medals and best of show. He went on like that for a half an hour before I got that story out of him.
Right.
So how was the beer after all that? The busted vent.
See, now that's the question of a good home brewer.
The beer worked out really good, but I was thinking about that when we were talking about it, because we were lucky that the hose didn't go into the wort. If it flipped.
Yeah.
You didn't say that.
Infected the wort.
Gotta save the beer.
You didn't say that to your wife, but you were thinking, you were like, it's a good thing it went through the vent.
Yeah, I would hate to have to re-boil my beer instead of do all that drywall.
Yeah,
that would suck.
At least the beer was good. So you suffered for the right reason.
Yeah,
that burned the hell out of my leg last summer brewing, but the beer turned out great. So I guess it made it worth it.
Yep. I love it. And let me just point out, if my notes are correct too, since we're talking about, not that this is a good lead-in to you teaching others to brew, but it does. Are you holding homebrewing classes as well?
Yeah, maybe they'll cancel their bookings.
Yeah, I didn't mean for the segue to go like that, but I did want to help you.
Yeah, we'll help you out any way we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got asked by there's a cookery teaching place, and they asked me to teach some homebrew classes. So I've got 3 classes in March. They're going to have 25 people in each, and I'm going to brew a. Well, I picked I can choose which beer I was going to brew in front of them. I'm going to brew a foreign export stout because we haven't brewed one at the brewery yet. So I designed the recipe on a homebrew system. So I've got all the stuff now, and I'm going to brew that probably on Thursday at home as a practice, and then take pictures and then put together a little how-to sort of list. And we got 3.5 hours, so we're going to talk about recipe formulation during the boil, and then just general process pointers during the mash, and then I'll have my homebrew foreign export stout so that they can try what they're seeing in front of them and stuff. So I'll also take some commercial examples, so you can understand the different flavor profiles that you can get playing within the same defined style, but you can get pretty distinctly different beers.
Man, you must love brewing beer. You're running the place, you're operating at capacity, and you're still teaching,
still brewing
homebrew classes.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like it. Can people sign up for these still, or do you want to promote that?
I think they have a waiting list still. I think they're all sold out right now, but they do have a waiting list. The Pantry at Delancey is the name of the place. So the Pantry at Delancey.com.
Okay,
it's in Ballard.
All right. Excellent. And listeners, you can go to ReubensBrews.com if you didn't catch that already and check it out. And go see them in the Ballard neighborhood, Seattle, Washington. I vouch for the beer. It's excellent.
This is very good beer.
Isn't it great beer? I really enjoyed it. I want to thank you for sending beer to talk with us about it, too, because it really helps the interview. And it was all great. Even, you know what? Whenever we say even JP liked it, we mean it.
That's true.
Thanks for having me. I listened to you as a homebrewer for a number of years, and I keep up the good work.
Excellent. We'll try to do that. I do have. It looks like I got one last question that snuck in here through the chat before I let you go. Does Adam have any tricks for avoiding stuck sparges with rye?
Yeah. So our Roggen beer is 50% rye.
Wow.
So what we do there is we put the Pils and the Munich, so that's 50% of the grain bill in first, and mash those in first. Then we layer the rice hulls, and then the rye malt, and then the flake rye. And as long as you start the sparge slowly and don't let it ever really get too fast, we've never had a problem. Knock on wood,
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, so just layer. That's what I'd say.
I hope you're not brewing with 50% rye tomorrow, because you totally just jinxed yourself. It's going to be fucked. I'd stay home if I were you.
All right, so you don't have mash rakes, and if you did, I assume you've turned those off.
No, we don't have mash rakes. No.
All right, so how long do you put it? How long do you have the base malt in before you add the rye?
Oh, just as we're mashing in. So
so just as you're doing in, you just run the other grains first.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It takes us 20 minutes to mash in, so we'd leave.
Well, when you're mashing in, are you using an oar to mix things up, or you just you do that? And then how about when the rye's coming in? Do you still do the same thing? You still keep
it would still mix it in, but you don't try and turn it over.
Okay, so you are trying to make sure there's a layering going on in the mash tun. Okay,
great. Yeah, and you put the rice hulls in between the layer.
Yeah, and that you don't
those
have
float
to
though
mix
when you put them in.
Sorry,
do they float when you put them in? Like, or do you sense that they? Well, I see. So the rice hulls become part of the top layers mixture,
and then there's more that goes on top of that.
I got you
again.
Yeah,
so that'll push them down if they are floating.
And it also keeps them out of the base malt because it doesn't need it. So I get it. That's good. Good strategy. I like that.
This is one of those things that's like, oh yeah, that just makes sense. Why wouldn't you just layer it like
it's
that?
common sense.
It makes a lot of sense, Adam, the way you're doing it.
A lot of things make sense when you actually figure them out.
When you're there to see it,
it's just figuring it out.
One day I'm going to learn that.
I wonder how do you deal with all the ducks, like the spent grain and stuff? All the ducks, the Ballard ducks in the neighborhood? Is that...
Oh, do you hear that? He did it for me. I didn't have to courtesy laugh you because Adam did it for me. We all should laugh harder.
Whatever.
JP's dying, so hang on, let me fix that. Oh, because of the ball. See, now if you die, you know that I thought you were funny.
You're supposed to just go, I don't understand. I go, why aren't they called those Ballard ducks?
I get it.
And then it was supposed to go longer than that. But actually mallards.
I know, I got the whole.
Do you?
Wow. It's just too sophisticated for me.
Yeah.
It's highbrow.
I'm not that way.
It's highbrow shit.
Hey, Adam, did you know JP is super funny?
He's listened.
We have ballot chickens. So one customer takes, I don't know, like almost half a ton a week and gives most of it to like chickens.
Oh, that's good.
So ballot chickens, but not.
You were
not too many ducks around.
See, he's still trying to help you out, JP. Adam's a nice man. He went and he shook everybody's hand in line who didn't get a beer, and here he is laughing at your jokes.
Well,
and making chicken references.
You know what?
How JP loves the chickens.
Even though we're only 2 shows in, Adam, I have a feeling you're going to be nominated nicest guest of 2014.
Oh, it should be like I don't know, T-ball, like the softball pitcher of the year. Who can lob the easiest, like, oh, here's the legitimate thing for your joke.
Yes. Treat us like we're special is going to be the name of the award, Adam.
Yeah.
Next time I'm on, I'll work on it.
The Lift Us Up, Not Break Us Down award.
Yeah, exactly. All right, it's Adam Robbings. He's the founder and brewmaster of Reuben's Brews. Go to ReubensBrews.com. The beer is fantastic. Go check it out. Apparently don't show up on a day of a limited release. You might not get one.
Or show up first.
Yeah, or show up real early. pitch a tent, so to speak. All right. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate you being on the program.
And thanks thanks for sending these great beers, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. There you go. Adam Robbings, Reuben's Brews. We got some good info there. If you write to us talking about how we haven't given you any good beer info lately, our answer will be, you didn't listen to the Reuben's Brews show.
The layering was gold. That was pretty cool.
I got it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, happy to have it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We got a lot left to do. Brew News, Homebrewer of the Week, Happy Hour, lots of stuff. Hang in there. It's the session, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf Shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hop Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit AustinHomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of BrewVent yeast fuel as well, Yeast Nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit AustinHomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, AustinHomebrew.com. Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
When you hear hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Autosparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for any beer style. I want a Cicerone. The Cicerone certification program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious, Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
Brewers, anyone can resell homebrew equipment and recipe clone kits. Get original at Adventures in Homebrewing. Adventures in Homebrewing has the knowledge and expertise to craft their own gear and original recipe kits that you'll love. Home of the Serial Killer Grain Mill, 220,000 BTU propane burners, custom stainless steel false bottoms, as well as custom-built brew stands and systems. These are just some of the items Adventures in Homebrewing designs and manufactures in-house. And the brewers at Adventures in Homebrewing keep designing, too. Original extract and all-grain recipe kits that are tried and tested and proven to be of the best quality. Most popular are the Blueberry Tangerine Porter, the Nor'easter Cranberry Fest, and the Peanut Butter Conspiracy Stout. Once you try one of Adventures in Homebrewing's original recipes, you'll keep coming back for more. And don't forget to use the coupon code BIG10 when you place your order to save 10%. That's coupon code BIG10, BIGTEN. Visit Adventures in Homebrewing at homebrewing.org right now and get original today. Homebrewing.org. Join the adventure.
Mix me your 100-grain amber recipe, and I'm going to eat it. And then it can ferment in my gut. It totally works. The beer is almost identical to the grain sandwich.
Your colon won't know what hit it.
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The
Session.
888-401-BEER. This is The Session.
Right. JP has cancer.
You know, can we just get over it? I'm sorry, I can't talk. My cancer is acting.
Did you drop out that rejoinder just so you could sing?
Oh! Yeah. That was my shrink's parting words. You know, now that you're cured, you should sing more.
You should drop out of the rejoinders.
You should dance like nobody's watching. And you should...
Because nobody is.
He just read me... Is it weird that he read me just a bunch of inspirational posters? I thought he was highly trained.
You know what? If I remember correctly, I think it's Critical Slinky. Remember that guy, Critical Slinky, who made the first lunch meat?
Image? I remember.
I think he has a business now, or at least a side business, where you can subscribe to motivational notes.
What?
And you get like a handwritten motivational note.
He's serious about it?
I'm going to look it up now.
Like it's not a joke?
No. I don't think it's a joke.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a great idea.
I think it's a pretty good idea.
You should do those, JP, just vaguely sarcastic. Give them
I really hope
day.
it's a good day. Inspirational voicemails.
Yeah.
I really hope you have a good day today.
You'd be great at it, especially after the surgery, JP. You're going to be so positive.
I am real positive.
I feel like maybe we should record a bunch of motivational notes from you pre-surgery and then several more post-surgery. And then we could play a game. We could make a BN game. Is this motivational quote from JP pre or post-cancer? Oh, I think we just invented the game in 2014.
All right.
You got me, Moscow? We need to come up with questions for... I don't care if they're motivational quotes or just questions like on his outlook of life, and then we're going to figure out if he answered them pre or post. Now, the post ones, I think we should do them in the hospital. Like toward the end when his throat is healing and everything, but when he's really like, the effect is really hitting him. Like, he's there, he's in the hospital, he's cured, he's going home soon. Those are the answers I want.
Does that means I have to go visit him in the hospital?
Yes.
Oh,
well, you're going to it anyway, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll see you there.
Oh, we were all planning to do it, but now that Moscow's going and he has work to do, we'd hate to interrupt.
I was going to bring you a pack of smokes. I mean, I figured
they only allow so many people up there at one time, so go ahead.
Right.
By the way, it's feelbetterletter.com. Well, shout out to Critical Slinky there.
Interesting.
$3 a month. You can get a once a month, handwritten letter that will inspire you.
And it's real. It's not like us idiots, us assholes who be like, oh, here's your... It's real.
You click on learn more and there's like, some double-ended... Yeah, no, it's a totally legitimate thing. I think it's a great idea.
Slinky's a real positive guy.
He is a real positive guy.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, well, God bless him. And you, sir.
Thank you. Blessings be unto you.
All right, we got a lot left to do. We're going to do some beer news right now. And, of course, coming up after that, we've got our homebrewer of the week and our happy hour, where we get to learn about another brewing disaster, which will make for 2 great disasters on today's show, making me quite happy. But first, let's do some beer news.
It's the Brewing Network's Beer News, brought to you by homebrewstuff.com.
Oh, I have my bet again. I feel whole. Well, today's top story, an attorney from Birmingham, Vermont named Stephanie Hoffman has avoided criminal charges that arose from her sale over the Ultranet of Heady Topper, which is the wildly popular Imperial IPA from The Alchemist out of Waterbury, Vermont. Hoffman was scheduled to be arraigned 2 weeks ago at Vermont's Superior Court for selling the beer on Craigslist. But instead of standing before Judge Martin Maley to enter a plea with her attorney, she was allowed to follow an alternative path of court diversion, which they didn't specify what it is. I'm assuming, community service or something like that. Hoffman is 28 years old. She works for the law firm Lancroix, Sperry & Wool in Middlebury, Vermont. She was cited by police on suspicion of selling alcoholic beverages without a license. Franklin County State Attorney Jim Hughes filed the charges, and a presiding judge found probable cause. She was cited after authorities says she used the Craigslist to sell 120 16-ounce cans to undercover investigators.
Oh, we're not just talking about a couple bottles here.
No, it was a lot.
Okay.
It was 120, yeah. She sold them to undercover investigators from the Vermont Department of Liquor Control. The transaction took place in a gas station parking lot in Georgia.
To add insult to injury.
It's beautiful. Well, the alleys were all full.
Yeah.
Authorities said Hoffman was asking $825 for the beer. That works out to $27.50 per 4-pack.
Yeah, wow. That sounds about right.
Her attorney said, quote, "No one really contemplated selling a single bottle of wine or a few cases of beer, a beer that ranked number 1 in the world, by the way, on Craigslist would amount to a criminal act."
Well, that's what her attorney said?
Yes.
All right, I'll hold it together for a second.
He added that there was no intent by Hoffman to do anything illegal. Quote, "It was a matter of, in her own way, trying to promote a very special Vermont beer and have fun doing it."
Oh, come on.
If she'd ever realized that it was illegal, of course, it wouldn't have been done, end quote.
Well, you guys say it's bullshit, but you've never clearly had the fun that she has had by meeting strangers in a Georgia parking lot.
Gas station.
I mean, when $800 gets exchanged in a Georgia parking lot, good things happen.
Yeah. It's just fun. It's something I like to do, and it's just fun. It's just fun. I love meeting new people.
I just feel good. I just meet them.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
New people on Craigslist. It's fun. I just love it. It's fun.
I like to run a legal distributorship for fun out of my garage. It's just fun. It's fun.
Not just fun. I'm promoting the brewery that I love.
I know. I mean, they're so good.
You lying sack of shit. So here, now I'm actually going to.
They're $10 a can good. I guarantee you.
I'm actually going to preface this by saying that I'm not really on either side of the fence about whether or not this should be allowed. I do think that I know there's a black market for beer. I'm not sure that it's wrong. What I will say is you're bullshitting everybody involved in this story if you say, A, I didn't know that it was illegal to buy several cases of an alcoholic beverage and then sell them on Craigslist. Yes, you did. Everybody knows that.
Well, she's an attorney on top of that.
Well,
so she knows it even more than I know it, and I'm an idiot. So she knows these things.
Well,
she's a better criminal than most people.
She has a special value add here. She stored them in her warm Georgia garage for a few months, warm aged,
before
heady.
Sale.
It's really good.
Then she upped the price of them by several hundreds of dollars. Because if I remember right, this brewery who sells out of this beer the instant it's made refuses to raise the price of the beer. This beer is extremely affordable, and just if I'm thinking of the same brewery, and I really think I am, despite calls of everybody involved to raise the price since it's so widely coveted, they refuse to do so. So she has upped the price of this beer by an enormous amount because she's a fan and wants to promote one of her favorite breweries.
Justin, it's fun. It's fun for her.
It is fun to make money. That's what's fun.
Right.
So I don't buy the premise. The premise is ridiculous. She's a lying bitch. Yes, Bevo.
It seems like a lot of work for something you really like. Like,
No,
I really
it's
like
not.
you, but I don't know that I would go through all that, just because I...
Well, so I see your point, and in some regards, maybe you're right. But here's the amount of work. For her to make about $800, maybe a little less, I guess, because the beer really is cheap when you buy it from the brewery, this particular brewery. So let's call it $700. All she had to do was get her hands on several cases and make a Craigslist post. I mean, that's it. And now she's making several $100s. Now, I'm not really, again, I'm not even saying that I'm kind of against that. I don't know. Fuck it. Do what you want. I'm just against her lying to the court to get out of it. Well, for one, I'm a lawyer and I didn't know it was illegal. And two, I'm actually just doing it to promote the brewery. Who's buying that? The judge? Because I'd like to have a word with the judge.
What do you think about the use of resources, undercover officers to pose on the internet and do these sales to prosecute would-be offenders?
So this is one of the interesting things about this story, to be honest with you, because I'm wondering if this is the first time this has ever happened. It's been in discussions. Vinny promoted this year after beatification came out at Russian River. There was a local report where he said, if any of you find our beatification for sale at a liquor store, please let us know, because it's illegal. They got the beer through illegal channels.
Because he never sold the beer to liquor stores.
It didn't go through the either. He's allowed to sell directly under his license or use the 3-tier system. It wouldn't have gone through either things. So I'm just pointing out that it's been in the news. It's a big stink for several brewers, right or wrong. I wonder if this is the first time a sting has ever happened and someone got busted for it.
That could be. Speaking of Russian River, Natalie got eBay not to sell beer anymore.
Oh, really? She just contacted eBay directly and said it's illegal.
Yeah, said no, you can't do it. And they don't sell any beer at all, evidently, on eBay.
Do you have any idea if they put up any resistance?
Well, it was illegal. What could they say? I don't know much. I guess they could.
I think that's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why this Hoffman went to Craigslist instead.
Well, she should have gone. She should have stayed much more below the radar. That was her problem. She went on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Pretty soon everybody, well, the ABC probably sees that.
I just like making little flyers, like post them around
just
CVS
go to the
and Walgreens and
say,
stuff.
I got it. What do you?
With like the phone numbers on little tabs you rip it off.
Yeah.
I got Hetty.
Now, Tasty,
that would have been fine. You could agree with that public.
I don't disagree with you, but she's not the first one to do this. She's not even the 100th person to do it. It's just now, and I think this is the question you're asking, Moscow. Is this a good use of resources? Now it's becoming prevalent enough in a small state like Vermont where it's actually kind of a big story in Vermont with this brewery that they're selling out of this beer.
Sure.
And now the black market becomes big, so the authorities decide maybe we should do something about this.
It's become so big for the brewery, The Alchemist, that they've developed an authorized Hetty Topper retailer sticker. They handed out to all their retailers 132 official resellers, and now can be seen in the window at pubs and restaurants. So just like what you were saying about the Russian River thing, if you go into a liquor store and you see Hetty Topper for sale, but you don't see the official sticker, then you're getting misled.
Yeah,
but that's crazy. That's some crazy demand for your product, is you have to make money, or you have to spend money to ensure customers that other people are making whatever.
Now, it kind of messes up the town, apparently, too. Like, it changes the traffic and everything. There's not enough parking and all kinds of stuff. It's become a big issue. It sounds funny, but it's become a problem, apparently.
So much so that they had to move their retail operation. Like a month or two ago, I was trying to book John, the guy who runs The Alchemist, for the show, but he was embroiled in this moving thing because all the neighbors, cars would line up around the corner, and there was traffic and just tons of people all the time. And so he had to move his operation.
Right. So I suggest we leave the greater topic of whether it's right or wrong for a later discussion, because I think it's an important discussion that has several facets to it, several sides that we should listen to.
A lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous.
But I do want to say, there's a part of me who I wish I had known about. There's a part of me that wants to turn this idiot in, because I feel like, why don't you just own it? I feel like she's lying. The lie is, I just did this because I'm a fan of the brewery, and two, I didn't know it was illegal.
Yeah.
And the judge is accepting that and letting her out of whatever prosecution that this sting would have resulted in. I kind of feel like I would have said to the judge, really? Are you going to buy that? First of all, she's a lawyer selling liquor without a liquor license.
Right.
You're going to believe that she didn't know? Second of all, she's upcharging by hundreds of dollars. You're also going to believe that she did that just because she's a fan of the brewery? I think she's making you look like an idiot. And I would like to say this, because what I don't like about this story is that she's treating us all like we're idiots. Yes. That's what I don't like.
Well, but
just own it.
I think you're right, but therefore what? Therefore she does jail time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, fuck her. She's a liar. Not because she's a thief, but because she's a liar. that's what I don't like.
I don't mind that you cheated. I mind that you lied.
I don't know why. I'm just particularly disturbed by the blatant, and then the court let her off because of it. I'm particularly disturbed by the blatant lies. I didn't know.
So you also seem bothered by the use of public resources to hunt down black market beer.
Yes and
selling.
no. I think Moscow's more disturbed by that than I am. I don't care about that. It is illegal.
Right.
It's an illegal activity. I don't know why the breweries care. I'm still not convinced about why breweries give a shit about that. They got paid either way.
Because they want something to be angry at.
But that's a whole lot, like I said, that's a whole other thing.
Mistreatment of the product, a lot of other stuff. But
I don't know, I just don't like the... So she got off. Essentially, she got busted. And then she got off by telling blatant and obvious lies. That's what I don't like.
She's like, are we done here? Because I got to drive up to Vermont.
Because the Alchemist is opening in an hour.
I got another 100 cases up there.
She's like,
my name on it.
I got an in. I'm just going to get it direct. I don't have to wait till they open. It's awesome. Are we done?
I got to catch a flight to San Diego. You know, that Tommy Arthur's about to put a whole new limited release on sale.
Yeah, you know that one that came in the anvil cases and stuff? I got like 15 of those.
I don't know.
You want one?
All right, I'll let her go. By the way, she's a little goofy looking. Let me just add that.
I know, I had to look at that picture
she's
for the
from
last
Georgia.
10 minutes. That was no good.
All right.
Goofy looking.
She's got some...
There. That says it all.
Missing a chromosome or something. She got some goof. Carry on.
Well, this story comes to us from Luxor, Egypt. While conducting a routine cleaning of the burial plot of an Egyptian statesman in the court of King Amenhotep III, that was King Tut's grandfather, a group of Egyptologists from Japan's Waseda University discovered another tomb, that of Kono Amhib. He was an ancient Egyptian head of beer production, known as the chief maker of beer for the gods of the dead. The tomb is estimated to be more than 3,000 years old. It's T-shaped. It has two halls and a burial chamber. And you guys can see in the image I sent you, you can see the well-preserved paintings decorating the walls of the tomb. Features scenes of grain fermentation, as well as finished products being presented in jugs to Mut, Egypt's mother goddess. According to the head of the Japanese mission, Yuro Kondo, the wall scenes depict Konzo Imheb himself, accompanied by family members and various deities. Imheb was, in addition to being a brewer, the head of the warehouse where the beer he made was stored, and his resting place in death is fitting for his role in life. The walls are golden-hued and exuberant and intoxicating. Really beautiful work. You see that there, Jay?
Am I the only one who feels like historians sometimes... I have the same problem with astronomers. are full of shit. Like, you can just make up any story you want. Are you really? There's a chief beer maker for the gods of the dead.
I didn't believe him until they found the tile where the brewing disaster was. There was water dripping from the ceiling. I don't know. Then I kind of believed it.
I mean, this story. It's so, you know how people make fun of astrology because, like, you could adapt anything to it. Of
course.
I feel like these historians, they look at a picture on the wall and they go, "Well, clearly he's the chief beer producer for the gods of the dead." Like, fuck you! You have no idea what is happening. It's to say, I had the same thing with astronomy, where they start telling me, like,
astrology.
No, astronomy.
Astronomy.
Where they look at things that they can't really see, and then they make a million conclusions based on whatever equation was put in front. And so they go, "You see, there's clearly life on another planet."
They're just using math.
We see nothing.
They're just using math.
There is something.
I just feel like it's the same type of jumping to conclusions. And the historians, look, they're smarter than I am, so I'm not saying that they're wrong. But I'm suspicious.
But there's
the chief beer god of the dead.
There's a difference between using math and science to form a conclusion, and looking at a picture and jumping to the conclusion. Now, there's also don't forget they also had writing.
Yeah,
but they're not just looking at the photo and playing Find Where's Waldo.
Not all, but right, even that a language that doesn't exist anymore, and there's nobody alive that knows that language.
No, but we've decoded it.
Have we?
Yeah, for like the past 80 years.
Or have we decided that we decoded it? It's the same, like we just go, I'm pretty sure it means this.
You go down there as an expert, you better be talking about something.
I know. Right? I'm telling you, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like
you can't go down and go like, I don't know what the fuck it means. You got to go down and make it up.
There's some loosey-goosey going on here. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Listen to this phrase, JP.
I'm listening.
Chief beer maker for gods of the dead.
Yeah.
Nobody is suspicious about that?
No, there have been sacrifices. I mean, we go into the explorers go into tombs all the time that find jars of wine and jars of ancient beers.
Pardon me, Ickfuck-Tuck-Nuck. What is your position? Oh, I'm the chief beer maker for the gods of the dead.
Yeah,
like that was his title. That was Ickfuck-Tuck-Nuck's title back in the day.
Yes, that would get you this nice setup tomb, right? I mean, that's a big deal.
It's a really good job. You just bring all the beer into the tomb.
2 hallways.
When I go to Tammy Nail, just one, to get a manicure.
Yes.
They have their little statue of Buddha, and there's always fresh donuts sitting in front of him and some oranges and avocados.
And they're gone the next time you come in.
No.
Must be that he ate
It's
them.
just like Santa Claus.
No, you have to leave fresh. You have to leave fresh fruit for the. Do you not know anything about historical sciences?
No, because I'm disturbed by the fact that I don't. Because I don't know, and some guy with more degrees that's smarter than me tells me it's so. I don't like it.
Did you just deconstruct teaching?
No, I deconstructed Icknuck-Fuck-Chuck.
Yeah, he's a lot like you. He didn't want a real job. So you guys are both here. It's cool.
Yeah, because someone who knows more stuff than I do tells me I don't necessarily think it's true.
Really? No. The guy, there's a picture on a wall, and then so we go, he is the chief maker of beer for God. Who are the gods of the... I don't like it.
Osiris is one of them.
You know what? I think it's the same person as who stole the Alchemist beer. They're all liars. They're liars. The lady with the chromosome and the Icknuck-Tuck-Fuck are the same people.
Well,
Justin's point is valid. I mean,
is it?
Yeah, for sure. Because scientists, historians, they are prone to stating their opinions and theories as fact, and they are prone to groupthink because the one guy at Harvard said it, therefore I believe it too, and it's fact. I'm with you. I don't take it as a given. I don't.
See? Come on.
It has a written language.
It's all subject to interpret. So does astrology.
No, astrology doesn't have a written language. That is based on interpretation.
This is interpretation too.
I will. Okay.
So
no.
You know what? Hebrew is a written language, yet the Bible translated into a billion language is subject to interpretation.
Absolutely.
So I feel like these I agree with you. It's some ancient language that we know exists, but it's all subject to interpretation. Whichever scholar and his preconceived notions about dead people needing a beer producer, that's what I'm saying. And he's a homebrewer. I guarantee you the guy who said this, he's a homebrewer.
Perhaps that's not the exact translation. Maybe there's not words in the English language to translate what it is. Maybe he's not the god beer-making guy.
Chief beer producer of dead gods.
I don't care. I'm just saying maybe he's something else and it's just not translatable.
Yep.
That might be so.
A lot of Egyptian hieroglyphics they don't have specific words for it. So
don't you think somebody just made beer at the time and people drank it?
But no, because it was more of a ceremonial drink based on all the research that they've been doing for the last 100 years in that area.
I don't buy it.
All right.
Yeah, I think he was just a beer maker, but because people like beer so much,
yes,
they gave this guy a big status. And then the people that came in later said he must have been a big deal because he got his own pyramid.
And now he's some god of the gods.
Yeah,
but they
drink shit. He's just a brewery, but everybody loved the beer.
But they drank more wine than beer.
I wonder how it tasted.
The workers drank all the beer. The wine was for the royalty.
Not a lot of temperature
Then
control
why would
there
be a god of the beer? See, you're making my point.
Don't look at me. I'm stupid. You're really taking my. You're searching so hard for a flaw. You're going to listen to me.
So this is still happening, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Well, Bevo's wondering how it tasted, and JP's wondering how, if it's just religious ceremonies or it was only.
It was a double IPA.
Beer was.
No wonder. See, and their society collapsed
in a pint can.
It's really hoppy. So beer was an integral part of both religious ceremonies, like JP said, and everyday life. And so it was really thick and sweet, the beer the Egyptians brewed.
Yeah, it was mead.
I was going to say, isn't that called mead?
By the way, it was mead. I don't know. It wasn't even beer. Was
MEAD.
Well, they didn't have a yeast that would eat the sugar, I'm sure.
It was a bunch of saliva and some grains
and like 1.6%.
They needed a
Yeah, you couldn't call it beer, I guess, because there's no hops in it, right?
How do you think they added salts to their water back then?
I don't think
you
they
know
did.
what I'm getting at?
Sweat,
no
semen.
Yeah, what was the number for white labs back then?
4.
Did they have a perfect pitch back then? No. God of dead beer people.
Well, there must have been some shit anyway. How did he get its own fucking tube? The beer tasted so shitty.
Yeah. They should have kicked him out of there.
Comparatively speaking.
The gods of the dead thought it tasted great.
Yeah, there you go.
They had special yeast.
There's a lot of religious theories.
There's the Fertile Crescent super yeast or something.
It's for the it's for the dead, so no one drank it. You put it in a tomb and it fucking evaporates.
Yeah.
No one ever drinks it, so he could just he might everybody. He doesn't give a shit.
That's a good point.
It is.
I could be the god of the dead beer people.
That guy knew it.
I think you should be.
I bet the guy's glad to be on our podcast now. What do you think? That his legacy he was thinking?
I'm changing my name to Nick Fuck Tuckluck.
I want to have you on this podcast.
I thought it was
in the
Fuck
future.
Nut Tickluck.
Same thing.
Shit.
Carry on.
As of the first of the year...
Give me a better story.
This one's good. As of the first of the year, Belgian beer maker Duvel has finalized its purchase of Kansas City, Missouri's Boulevard Brewing Company. I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but John McDonald, which is a Boulevard Brewing's founder, he sold his majority stake back in October for an undisclosed amount to the 142-year-old Duvel. Some media outlets have estimated that the sale may have been worth around $100 million. It's conjecture, but it's a lot of money. Donna Hood Krecka.
$100 million.
Maybe. That's the guess.
Wow. What did the Goose guy get? Do we remember?
Oh, that was $40 million, I believe, from Anheuser-Busch for Goose Island.
That's enough.
The Goose guy.
All right.
This lady, I can't pronounce her name, she's a beverage industry analyst. She says there are now at least 2,500 American craft breweries, as we well know. Some are challenging the European masters, and U.S. craft beer exports have jumped more than 70% just in the last year. Most bottles of the Irish ale that jostle down Boulevard production line today will stay in the Midwest. But Simon Thorpe, who runs Duvel's U.S. arm, says that Kansas City's identity will help sell the beer worldwide. His quote is, people really want to know where things come from. They want to have an emotional connection to the brewery.
And Kansas City offers both of those things. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Duvel promises to help Boulevard make and sell more beer, and importantly, it pledged to, quote, pretty much just leave Boulevard alone, as it tries to strike a delicate balance between marketing Boulevard beer to the world and keeping it real back in Kansas City.
Well, I didn't have a negative opinion when it happened to Goose, and I don't have a negative opinion. I hope he got $100 million. God bless him. And if it brings craft beer outside of the U.S. to other parts of the world because of it, great.
Well, and that's that's what Anheuser-Busch said, too, when they bought Goose Island, is, we're pretty much going to leave. They have their name for a reason, and we're not interested in changing their beer. We're interested in bringing their beer to more people.
Sure. They did change their employee structure, which people predicted, and they said, no, we won't. But that happened. But I don't know if the beer seems the same to me. Shit, their Bourbon County Stout is still one of the top-rated beers on all the sites. So they do they do Matilda, too?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I like that beer still. I don't know, whatever. I hope he got $100 million. Jerk.
Yeah,
when is somebody going to buy us out?
Yeah, I could really go for $100 million.
Those are worth something.
Oh, dude, I will totally give you guys $20 if that happens.
Yeah, you won't get it all, Beef.
I don't even care.
She's like, I could totally use $20.
Yeah.
Totally use $20.
Yeah.
I'll take it today.
All of us.
Let's do one last one. This is a fun one. A resourceful firefighter in Houston, Texas, used beer to save the day. Captain Craig Moreau said that he was driving eastbound on State Highway 71 out of Austin last week when he witnessed thick smoke coming out of a truck's brakes. He and his wife pulled over to help the driver. It turned out that the 18-wheeler was hauling cans of Coors Banquet. Morrow, who was off duty, said he grabbed the little extinguisher the driver was attempting to extinguish the blaze with. He was just kind of on the outside of the tire, spraying it meekly. And so Morrow grabbed the extinguisher and crawled under the truck and tried to knock down the flames, but that was not enough. He asked the driver what he was carrying, and the driver responded, beer, it's all beer. And then the tire exploded. But Morrow was thinking on his toes. He ordered the driver to open the truck and tossed him some tall boys. Let's say you want to hear some audio.
This is
from the
bullshit.
guy?
Just like the
Banquet on
Nuck
the.
Tuck.
No way.
It's
What
not
did they do?
happening.
Did he shake them up and then pop them? Like,
Beer flammable?
No,
I'm sorry,
It's
did
not
you
high
just-
enough alcohol.
Say beer was flammable.
I was asking about alcohol was flammable.
No, not in Coors quantities.
Here, let's hear from the man. Here, pop it up.
Go ahead.
So I grabbed the extinguisher from him and I crawled underneath the truck and I doused the flames. At that point, I was worried about the whole truck burning up because there wasn't really anything else left to put the fire out with. I said, hey, what's in here? And he said, beer. It's all beer. So he started throwing cans out of the truck and I would shake them up and stab them with my knife and start spraying on the brakes.
There you go.
Wow.
Shotgunned beer onto a fire.
That's what happened.
And then I turned.
Attaboy.
I had my wife turn down NASCAR on the radio because I couldn't hear him sending me new cans. I tried to shake them, couldn't hear.
Stab him with my knife.
Hey, is that Dale, Pat? Never hand me another beer. Shake it up first.
My knife went dull, so I used my wife's knife.
really?
I'm just going to drink this one real quick, and then I'll.
You look good at midnight.
I made her whole.
One for the fire.
Two for me, one for the smoke.
Well, I mean, the man's a hero, though. The truck survived, and there was no problems. And he said he was certain the whole truck would have gone up if it weren't for the tall boys.
Well, he saved a truckload of Coors Banquet. That if that's not a hero, I don't know what is.
Here, see if you guys can make sense
Good
of
beer,
this.
too.
Is it?
What does he mean?
We've got an unofficial shirt that says "Defending the King" on the back of it because we're in the shadow of the Budweiser brewery, and the beer that was in the back of this truck was Coors.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't know if you can tell, but I fancy myself a Coors man. And so since I saved the Coors in front of the king, we call me a Rocky Mountain legend.
King of beers.
Defending the king?
That's what he said.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
Isn't Budweiser the king of beers or something?
Yeah.
So why I don't get the defending the king.
Right.
That
See,
part doesn't quite
That's
make
why
sense.
I
defending
didn't
in front of the
understand.
king.
Can you imagine on Cafe Press, you ordered 8,000 of these shirts and they don't make sense?
Can you imagine how long we're spending analyzing this?
Yeah.
What'd he
Slow
do?
news week.
What'd he do wrong?
Maybe he was talking about the Egyptian guy. It's for the king.
You're right.
So,
Anyway.
All right. Well, thanks, man.
Thorough.
You saved lives and you spent beers, but
Yeah, good for you.
yeah, good times. All right. That's the news. Yeah, brought to you by our friends at homebrewstuff.com who are currently celebrating lager season. Go to homebrewstuff.com. And if you're real crazy, /promotions and brew your first lager or continue brewing if you're already a lager brewer.
Yes.
Homebrewstuff.com.
Yeah, check it out. If you go to homebrewstuff.com/promotions, we've dubbed lager season over here at Homebrew Stuff.
It is lager season.
It's a perfect time for you to be brewing some lagers. And what Homebrew Stuff has done is given you a whole bunch of kits. They got their Shogun Lager on sale, their Czech Pilsner on sale, Vienna Lager, which I'm a fan of, and I feel like people don't brew enough.
Nope. Such a good beer.
I love a good Vienna Lager. They got their Vienna Lager kit on sale over there. All kinds of White Labs yeast on sale. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different strains of White Labs lager yeast on sale over there. And then also fermentation and yeast culture equipment. If you're going to lager some stuff, you might need a little fermentation control. If you're in the states that are freezing their ass off right now, which is craziness in the news, I don't know if you've seen that, then you might need one of them firm wrap blankets or anything to kind of warm the beer up. If you're in one of the warmer states, maybe you got to cool it down. But they got your lager equipment, fermentation control for sale over there. Go to homebrewstuff.com. Our good friends over there. Lager season all month long. Lots of shit on sale. Check it out.
I have an update on our Egyptian tomb.
Okay.
So,
have you spent this whole time researching?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. The owner of the tomb, blah, blah, blah. So the guy, so what happened, they discovered a tomb of like all the news outlets are saying, the brewer of the dead. Not, in fact, true. It was the chief brewer of the Temple of Mutt. So within this tunnel, within this temple, this guy who was the chief brewer had his own little tomb.
Okay, so that makes sense to me.
Yes, that makes sense.
Now do you see why I'm questioning the other bullshit? Because it's bullshit.
Yes, but for the wrong reason. Not because of the science, but because of the way the story was reported.
Well, that's fine.
And this is from ScienceDaily.com.
But it says, slippery, it happens with the scientists too.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but I just don't wholesale go, oh, whatever. And I was just giving you a lot of shit because you were.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I actually like that I'm semi-validated. That's all I need.
We're both right.
Because it just sounded ridiculous. Yet we read these things, and because it came from a scientist or historian with a degree, we go, oh, well, shit. I guess I should have known there was a god of the beer dead. So this makes me feel better.
It is a feel-good science
Of course
story.
there's a temple brewer. The guy had to brew beer for the people.
Right.
That makes sense.
They drink beer just like us.
It sounds like it was one of like the few places that people have found of this.
I see.
And I guess that's why it's getting a lot of press. Also, it's a really slow news day.
Right.
Well, I translated the hieroglyphics wrong, so forgive me.
Oh, we have a guy on the phone who wants to answer the dead beer maker guy thing, too. That blind guy. What's up?
Hey there, guys. How's it going?
It's going well. What do you got for us?
Well, listen, I'm not an Egyptologist. I played one on TV.
Good.
But
hang up on him.
This fucknut there was probably, and as you know, pharaohs were considered the gods on Earth.
Okay.
So fucknut was probably the beer maker for whoever the dude was he was buried beneath.
Oh, well, that's what. And by the way, it's Nuck Fuck.
I like his name better.
So JP found the story that clarified, yes, he was just a brewer at the temple. He wasn't some, brewer of the dead gods.
Well, no. See, what he probably did was brewed for the celebration of that pharaoh's funeral. Because what they do is they only tell stories in hieroglyphics of their greatest accomplishment.
Okay.
So he probably brewed the beer for that accomplishment, and that's what that thing was about. And hey, JP.
What?
Man, good luck, dude.
Thanks, bro.
Are they doing chemo on you?
No chemo. They're just taking it all out and then radioactive iodine. After.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, best wishes, dude.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, blind guy.
Okay.
Cheers.
All right, later.
Could be worse. Could be blind.
Did blind guy say if he has a...
He was being nice to you.
Dude.
I know.
He's trying.
Oh, man.
Did blind guy say if he had a postgraduate degree?
He didn't say.
Oh, well then...
Yeah, he's
Who
saying,
cares?
I'm not an Egyptologist. Cut him off. He's done.
I will say this. That redneck made a lot more sense than I did. I'll give him that.
And the scientists that contributed to this stupid story.
They don't have to take your balls out, do they, JP?
No. Why?
I don't know. I'm just curious.
Why would they? I thought about being that douche that writes all over my body. Don't cut into here, and then circle cut
the
here.
Area?
Yeah.
Oh, we could help you with that. I don't know if you knew this, but Moscow's an artist.
Oh, shizzle.
He could.
That'd be good.
He could artisticize your body.
Oh, for sure. I got a big collection of Marks, Lots, and Sharpies. I'm all over it.
Yeah, you're all over me.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got Homebrewer of the Week and our Sapco Happy Hour. Hang in there. It's the session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
What'd you get? More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
Oh, the Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot.
And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah. Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today because it's totally hot. Oh, yeah. Here's a bite for beer lovers. Soft caramel made with real craft brew and coated in chocolate. And Hop Drops, hard candies made with real hop oil. Introducing Beer Candy from beercandy.com. Beer Candy's amazing caramels come in 4 mouth-watering flavors. IPA, bitter gold, wrapped in smooth white chocolate. Lager, made with a familiar beer from Boston and coated in milk chocolate. Lambic, soury Belgian goodness full of fresh raspberry and dipped in dark chocolate. And Stout, roasty cocoa chocolate insanity. Hop Drops are made with Fuggles or Cascade hops and are known as the candy that bites you back. Choose from sampler and full sizes of both and make your mouth jump to life. All at beercandy.com. Hop Drops and beer caramels satisfy your sweet tooth as only a beer lover could with Beer Candy. Visit beercandy.com today.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry. And to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just 1 day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
Wait till you can pour it out of your own kegerator.
Yeah. I mean, your friends will look at you with awe.
And it's just hot.
It is?
It's so super hot.
The home of live beer radio.
TheBrewingNetwork.com. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The
Session.
You're listening to The Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
All right. Egyptian brewers.
Whatever.
Bunch of bullshit.
I don't think I can.
I have a communications degree from San Francisco State University. I know what I'm talking about. Part of that degree was at Diablo Valley College in Concord, California.
So I, again,
a highly
know what I'm
prestigious
talking about.
accredited school, Tasty.
I didn't know.
That a lot of people transfer from to go to other places.
I know the girls are easy to go there.
Oh, there are some good-looking girls at the DVC, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's why we go. That's why I spent 7 years there before I transferred to a...
Why leave?
Otherwise accredited.
They're stupider here.
Yes. All right. Well, it's time for our Homebrewer of the Week segment. That's right. It's our Logic Homebrewer of the Week.
It's time for your close-up. Now, the BN Homebrewer Spotlight, brought to you by Logic.
All right, today we're talking to Mr. Evan Burke. Evan Burke. By the way, we know Evan Burke, just for full disclosure. He's a good dude, and every time I go to Seattle, the guy shows me what's what around the beer scene over there. Evan, welcome to the show, man.
Hello.
It's nice to have you on here.
It's nice to be here.
Evan, he's a professional fisher man.
Right.
Guy now.
Yep.
Yet still an avid home brewer. I will point out, Evan, as you know, I like to do often. Super hot wife, total douche with a super hot wife.
Yeah, ugly.
Oh, I remember her.
How did that? He's the guy who you go, Wait a second. How did that happen?
Trust mud baby. That's who. That he's got to be
must
trust
be, right?
mud
That's
baby.
not very nice.
No, but it's accurate.
Giant penis. He must have a penis the size
Huge.
of that. What's that needle in Seattle? The space
The
needle.
space needle.
His
I don't know.
penis is at
I don't
least
even
that
live in
size.
Seattle.
With more girth.
You just compared his huge wiener to a needle.
But it's a really big needle.
Well, yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it's just something about the beer world, making beer. You get good-looking women.
Yeah. She didn't leave you yet, right, Evan? I'm not overstepping. I want to...
No, we're yeah. She's hanging out.
Okay, good. That would have been awkward, huh, guys? So how about that? Yeah, she left.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah. By the way, her name is now Russ.
Right. All right, Evan. Well, tell us about yourself, because I know you've been homebrewed for a long time.
Well, not as long as a lot of people, I guess.
Okay.
Don't date me.
I think it's more of a unique story because I actually started in a professional setting and kind of worked backwards to homebrewing from there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did.
Tell me that story.
We've had this discussion.
Yeah, I don't listen. Tell me again.
Were we drinking at the time?
For radio.
Yeah.
So I was living in Orlando, Florida for a couple of years, and a brewery was opening up there, and got to know the head brewer, and he brought me in and just started kind of letting me be the brewery bitch, and I shoveled out mash tuns and cleaned tanks, and eventually ended up learning how to brew from him. And then, after a little while, ended up going and doing it at home and setting up my own, kind of building my own tiered system and going from there. And that was 2004. I think that all happened.
Okay.
So
What made
10
you
years
look,
ago.
What made you look for a gig at a brewery if you weren't a beer guy?
Oh, I was into drinking craft beer. I was just getting into craft beer at the time, and saw that there was a brewery opening up, and it seemed like a cool thing to go check out. And talked to the brewer because he was hanging out drinking at the bar, and he told me to come in and see how it all worked the next day, and that's what I did.
Nice. Do you have the
Yeah.
same brew system now as you built then?
No. When I ended up moving back to Washington from Florida and got rid of all my stuff and ended up living in apartments for a couple of years, and I actually put together a small apartment brewery that worked on this really small deck that I had that was about probably 4 feet wide by 4 feet, and
wow,
brewed 6 gallons on that somehow. It was a lot of precarious clamping things to the railings and stuff like that, and actually setting my mash tun up on the railing to do the runoff. And if I would have done one wrong move, it would have went down 3 stories.
Look out below.
Yeah.
Now, why did you do that? Was that just to be able to brew all grain? Because most people with those space constraints would just do it in their kitchen. I guess not
They
all
would,
grain.
but I've still to this date never actually brewed with extract because that's not how I learned.
I see.
So it's what I knew, and that's what I've always known. And
You had an extract kind of space there, that's for sure.
yeah, and so after I moved back to Washington, I moved back here with a job at one of the bigger breweries in town, one of the more well-known breweries, and was hired on as the assistant brewer because I had been at the Orlando Brewing thing for a while and had been homebrewing for a while, and brought on as the assistant brewer at this brewery, and came in for basically the first day of work and was told that the assistant brewer they were going to be letting go, they didn't have the balls to fire him yet. They felt bad and something went on in the guy's life, and so they're like, well, you can just work the bottling line, for a couple weeks while we work that out. And like the second day, I ended up hurting myself on the bottling line and pretty much couldn't work anymore.
Oh man!
So got a cellaring job at another bigger brewery in town and was a cellarman, filterman, and brewer's assistant there for a while before I finally decided that production brewing sucked ass and I liked homebrewing better.
So it just wasn't the creative style of brewing that you liked.
No, production brewing sucked. $11 an hour sucked.
Oh yeah,
and just moved on, and now I'm just home brewing and actually enjoying it.
How often do you homebrew now?
Usually about every 2 or 3 weeks.
Nice.
It's been a little less recently because this time of year I'm traveling a lot. So I've got a couple loggers going right now, and I got a tap system that I built in my garage. So I'm keeping it. It is logger season, so I'm keeping full of loggers.
Beautiful. And tell us about your homebrew setup now. How many gallons are you brewing?
Just 6. I've got a 6-gallon basically batch sparge setup. I've had the pumps and the automated systems and all the fun stuff, and finally decided that I kind of enjoyed the manual labor side of brewing at home. So I've just got a crappy mash tun made out of an igloo, or not an igloo cooler, but just like a Coleman cooler, and just using like the toilet hose thing in that, the mesh hose, and 10-gallon brew kettle, and the Bayou Classic burner, just super basic. And then I did build myself a nice tap box out of a freezer, and so I've got a nice tap system. But I kind of like the simple Denny Kahn kind of school of brewing, batch sparging, manual labor type. I dig that.
So a couple of things. Do me a favor. Don't use any in describing any of your brewing equipment from heretofore. Don't use the word toilet in the process. I just think, I don't know, it might help. When you're trying to share beer. Second of all, what is it that you like about the more labor intensive part? And I mean this honestly. Like, do you like that it takes a little longer and you're a little more involved?
Yeah.
Tell me that.
Yeah, it's more. I don't know. I feel more crafty that way. I think it comes from my final brewing job that I had was a lot of button pushing, and it was an big automated system where really the only way to fuck up was to turn the wrong valve somewhere. But otherwise you had computers and things like that doing anything. And I think after that experience where that wasn't brewing to me, I like to do everything myself and feel like the final product is something that I actually crafted up and not a machine, if that makes sense.
It does. I can relate to a little bit. I have a lot of automation stuff on my system, but
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just
no, and I don't mean that. But what I mean to say is there are probably ways I could shorten my brew day because of that, but I'm not looking to do that. If my brew day takes me 7 or 8 hours, I actually really don't mind. I like the kind of slow. I'm never really looking to speed it up. I may be looking to cut
and
corners.
I'm in the same boat where, my home office where I work day to day is right next to my garage. So, I can brew while I'm at work, basically. So
that's nice.
Saving time on a weekend or in an evening that's not really a priority. If I have a day where I have time to brew, I can start it. I have time to do 2 or 3 brews if I really felt like it. It's just nice. not really, time's not really an issue.
If you're not catching fish, fuck it.
Not that day.
I like it.
Yeah.
What's the last beer that you brewed?
It's one I just finished drinking a glass of here because I haven't brewed in a couple weeks. I don't really know what to call it because I basically took my Doppelbock recipe and added chocolate malt and carafa and basically made an Imperial Schwarzbier Bock.
Just call it an IPA, dude. Everyone else does.
It's a Belgian.
It's a black lager IPA.
Yeah, there you go.
That's interesting. How'd it come out?
Yeah. Fucking great.
Nice.
I love it. I really want to do it again.
It actually sounds like a really interesting combination.
Yeah, I started. I was like, this has got to be a style, and the closest thing I could come up with is a Baltic Porter, but it's different than that. It's a Doppelbock, but it's got that nice little Schwarzbier roastiness to it. So I've always been a big fan of Schwarzbiers and like Munich Dunkel type beers. So it just seemed like a cool way to do a variation on something like that. Just more, I don't know, the Imperial style. But I don't know, it has more of a flavor of a Bock, though. I use the German Bock yeast, and the base beer is still a Bock, and you can taste that. But that roastiness definitely adds another nice dimension and kind of reminiscent of a big Schwarzbier.
Did you decoction mash?
No.
Pussy.
Yeah. I don't know. Time's not an issue, but I do have.
But effort is. Yeah, dude, I'm never doing a decoction mash.
You got to draw the line somewhere, man.
I don't know. I like the final product without it, so fuck it.
Now listen, I said I don't mind spending a lot of time. Effort is a completely other thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I also, even me liking the manual labor and the no time constraints, I have my limits.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Would you ever want to be a pro again in a different capacity? Like, would you want to own your own brewery or something?
No, I like my job right now.
I guess you would. You literally fish for a living, right?
I do.
And I don't mean like the poor guy has to sit out on a boat like pulling in nets that are hundreds of pounds of fish. I mean, he like walks out to the river with a fishing pole and fishes. That's it.
Yeah, and collect a paycheck.
I don't understand. Who's paying you?
The fishing people.
I'm the staff pro, product development manager, brand manager of a fly fishing company. So I
got to know his
invented
shit.
my position.
Yeah. So in order to sell it, Evan's got to go figure it out first.
Sure.
Right.
By himself on a river in Washington.
Right. Over and over again.
It's pretty rad.
You'd think at some point it would be just like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
You put the line on the reel and you cast it.
JP.
Yeah.
JP.
What?
Job security.
Yeah. Can we keep it down, buddy? The guy's figured it out.
Sorry.
Dude, you ever get a burger? I mean, all that fish, Jesus.
I mean, every time, Tasty, I feel like I've figured it out. I've created the dream job.
Yeah, and then somebody else does it.
I think of
easier
Evan.
deal.
And I go, fuck.
Fishing?
I screwed this up.
Yeah. So that's my job, and I'm even side job as a podcaster now myself. So.
Oh, is that right? Are you doing a fishing podcast?
Yeah. We just posted our first show a couple days ago and had 500 downloads in 2 days, so we're doing all right so far.
Oh, that's awesome. Promise me it's not like watching fishing on ESPN.
No.
Are you tasting fish?
Basically, you don't think I've been listening to this show for 8 years and haven't copied you guys? Come on.
God, I hope so.
I even hired Push to do all my intro segments.
Nice. Well, you know how to go for the pro.
Hang on, let me do my...
Is he stealing him or some other way?
He better not.
Our lawyers might be calling your lawyers.
That's right. Tonight. Let me do my impression of a fishing podcast.
All right.
Well, here we are. We're out at the river. I've just casted my line. And
casted?
We're just going to wait.
It's 5 a.m. The sun has not come up yet.
Sounds like Bruce Strong already.
There's a slight ripple across the water.
You sound like a PBS show.
This is the part where we're just waiting.
It's just good to be out.
If I could,
you have to throw those in.
You sound like
it's a great day to be out.
It's a great day to be. I can just see the tip of my bobbing thing out there right now. It's bobbing.
You sound like that guy with the afro that paints.
Yeah,
Bob Ross.
Oh yeah, him.
Happy little fly. And anyway. Just hang in there. I've never come out and not caught something. So
any minute now,
I do say that.
Any minute you do say that, don't you? There's a
nope. Someone threw a rock.
Nope. That was that was the current.
Just the neighbor kid fucking with me.
And there's a little chill in the air today. Do you feel that?
Ooh.
It's just slightly cool.
It's taken a while. We haven't caught anything yet. Did anyone bring in bananas today or something?
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
I'm really low energy. I feel like I probably shouldn't.
I need a Cliff Bar.
You probably got to take a shit. So
I feel there's not a bath. Yeah. Now I just want you to know it's not okay to shit in the river anymore.
No.
They changed that law last year.
After all, we are
fucking environmentalists.
And jumping in and trying to do that does not work. Ask me how I know.
Had I done this podcast last year, you wouldn't have to listen to me clenching my butthole for the next hour because it used to be allowed. But no, just no, good. I got it under control. I'm sorry.
It would help with the wiping part, though. I think.
I'm sure it's much better than that.
Yeah, not much.
Well, the production's
you
better.
were pretty.
So how do we get to this podcast?
Yeah, where do we go?
How can I be number 501?
Yeah.
It's called The Open Fly. TheOpenFlyPodcast.com.
Strong.
You have learned from our show. Well done, sir.
He's got push.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder how.
Good name.
Are the fly fishing people the most technologically savvy? That they figure out how to download podcasts.
Well, 500 of them did.
Wow.
Do you have a fish grenade?
I think.
Yes, actually.
You have a fish grenade? Great.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, the technology that goes into fishing now, it probably would blow your mind.
It would.
So I'm sure
Yeah.
they're very tech savvy to get a little podcast about it.
I downplay my job and all that, but yeah, there's a lot of technology involved.
Yeah.
Think of all that time you
believe
spend
it.
fishing, how boring it is. I mean, you need a podcast for that.
That's right.
Podcast and homebrew. Do you drink your homebrew
Exactly.
while you fish?
Well, yeah, not really while I fish, but I do it while we podcast.
There you go.
I don't know. Usually I'm rowing a 17-foot aluminum boat through Class 3 rapids, and that doesn't really mix well.
No
with-
excuse. We're one of those camelbacks with the pipe you keep in your mouth, That's
Right.
what it's called, right?
Yeah.
The camelback?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't have one.
That's racist, by the way.
Evan, this thing's going to take off. You better plan for the future.
Be careful.
Yeah.
You might be opening a restaurant called a Fish Grenade or something.
Spend more time talking about clenching in your shits. I bet you But
Are we supposed to be talking about homebrew? How do we get this sidetracked?
What are you doing on this show, by the way? I forget.
Homebrew's boring.
What are we talking about?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Evan
Maybe I'm
Burke,
just that boring of a homebrewer.
our homebrewer of the week. Thanks for sharing with us, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Later.
There you go. That's Evan, and the homebrewer of the week is brought to you by the good folks over at Sabco.
No,
that's right.
That's Logic.
Oh, at
Sabco's
Logic.
the next one.
Oh, damn it.
It's all right. This is the best cleaning products on the market. They're non-toxic, biodegradable, and non-corrosive. The Straight A and the One Step, they're just the best two products out there. Go to EcologicCleansers.com. Check them out.
Perfect. The good news is I'm ready for our next segment.
Brought to you by Logic.
Right, Logic. Yeah. Brought to you by Sabco. I do believe. I got to call our guy up, though. This is my favorite new segment that we do. It's our happy hour segment where I get to learn about people who screw up almost as much as I do. Doesn't always work out that way, but it's very close. Sometimes.
Hello?
Hey, Sean, hang in there 1 second, will you?
Hello?
Hey, buddy. Sean, hang in there 1 sec.
He's from Japan?
Yeah.
It's time for the BN Happy Hour.
Yeah, that's right. Happy Hour is brought to you today by Sabco, maker of the Brew Magic brewing system.
And now, let's see who f***ed up this week.
That's right. It's our boy, Sean Martin. Hey, Sean, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. I hope you're not too drunk by now.
Working on it.
Good man. What have you been drinking?
Handful of stuff. Working on a bourbon barrel-aged Hellesbach right now.
Hellesbach. A bourbon barrel-aged Hellesbach.
Yeah, let that
JP.
sink in for a little bit.
Yeah. I got to think about that one. You just pulled that one out, huh? Of your ass, I meant.
I figured it was the night for it.
Yeah. All right. So tell us about your disaster. What happened? Give me the full rundown.
Well, I was born.
Yeah.
So it was a couple of years ago. It was a pretty big disaster, almost turned real violent.
Violent like I am violent, or violent?
No, like real violent.
Oh. All right. Carry on.
So I had just finished up a big, home brewing week. I'd done 4 or 5 brews that week. I had a handful of carboys and a makeshift fermentation thing that I made out of a liquid malt extract container in this fridge that I had modified to be a fermentation fridge. So I had a temperature control unit on it. Anyway, so I finished up with what I thought was going to be a great brew day. And, I was moderately fucked up when I went to bed, but thought everything went well. And then about midway through the night, I heard a crash, like someone was breaking down my door.
Oh, no.
And so, like any normal, logical person would do, grabbed my gun and my flashlight, started searching my house.
Right.
Trying to find who was, breaking in, trying to steal whatever I don't have. And so I made my rounds around the house, couldn't figure out what it was. And then it dawned on me, maybe something fell out of my fridge in the garage and broke. Or maybe someone was, trying to steal my homebrew, which, seems reasonable because it's pretty good.
Yeah,
but,
in the middle of the night, you're in your underwear. That seems totally reasonable.
No, I'm completely naked.
I got my gun and my gun.
Right. I will shoot you with one of them. Yeah. And so I run out to the garage and I see that my 6-gallon carboy is on the ground, shattered. I've got 2 more carboys, just pouring beer out on my garage floor. My 10-gallon thing is just dumping beer. I've got
they fell out of the refrigerator?
Something must have shifted in the middle of the night. And
He lives on a boat. You didn't tell you that?
Yeah, like, how did they fall out of the refrigerator?
Were they on a shelf and the shelf collapsed or something?
There was a shelf in the back. So there's 2 carboys in the back,
It's
like
too heavy.
over the little compressor hump in the fridge.
Okay.
And then a carboy and the 10-gallon thing in the front. And it was kind of precarious, and I knew that.
But you're like me, and you're like, it'll be fine.
Fuck, it'll be great.
Well, yeah,
the
when
gods are with me.
When you close the door, it's supposed to hold everything in, right?
Yeah, and it's got that magnetic strip all the way around.
Yeah, like it's cool.
It's cool. So it wasn't cool. And so I walk out there, and so now I'm pointing my gun straight at
which one?
The thing that makes me the most pissed in the world right now.
His wiener.
The refrigerator?
No, that makes me the most happy. Come on, man.
Yeah. So you're pointing at the fridge. You're pointing a gun at the fridge.
And I'm like shaking mad. I'm so upset.
Yeah. Hey, hang on. I'm going to give you Steve's number offline here because no, Gary.
Yeah, he works for free.
Oh man!
Listen, I understand this moment that you're going through. You're fucking furious. You spent all your time on this, and you're looking at it on the floor, and there's nothing you can do about it. But there's a gun in your hand, and somehow
evil in the room.
The only thing I really want to do is like unload 16 rounds into this fridge. Right?
Yes, I understand this feeling.
That's not illegal.
I know that I live in the city, so I'm probably going to get arrested if I do this. But you know, I'm still kind of half cocked from a home brewing day.
Right. So you held back.
Well, I'm kind of confused. I want to shoot it
right now, or
no,
then?
I shouldn't. But I know I want to.
Right.
And I'm just blindly enraged. And so my wife comes downstairs and...
You shot her.
She had her gun.
Imagine if I was right and he's like...
She's got a bigger gun.
Awkward.
Right in the...
So she comes downstairs and she sees me and she realizes what has happened. And so she starts like trying to talk me down like, hey, it's okay.
Put down the
it.
weapon.
It's not worth going to jail. Just put the gun down.
Wow.
Imagine being talked off the ledge by your wife about a broken carboy.
Yeah, this is the weirdest talk down session ever.
While naked.
Yeah.
While naked.
Yeah.
He was
she
muted
naked?
up.
Is she naked too at this point?
I believe she had the good sense to grab a robe.
Right.
But she didn't tie it. It was just open.
She's like, I better calm this guy down.
Yeah. The only way I know how.
Careful.
Okay. Carry on.
What? She was singing to you. Don't worry about it. Don't get so jumpy.
So does she talk you off the ledge?
Shoot her.
You fill that thing full of lead.
She does. I didn't end up going to jail. I didn't end up unloading anything, but I was just so irate that it was...
Now, let me ask you this. Did you find another way to release the anger, or did you just go to bed? And I'm not insinuating anything. I just really want to...
Well, I am.
Here's what happened. You were furious.
Yeah.
You bottled it up. Did you ever let it out?
I think that's what we're getting at.
Yeah, he didn't get to unload, is what he said.
I feel like
anything.
I feel like you got to let it out. I think if I was his wife, I wouldn't have come down and talked him down. I'd have been like, fucking shoot it. Fuck it. Shoot it.
Yeah.
Unload. Let it out, buddy. You're going to be fine.
Get the poison out.
And when the cops come, just say you don't know what happened.
I blacked out.
It works every time, apparently. Say you didn't know it was illegal and you were just doing it because you were a fan of the refrigerator.
Yeah, you were having fun.
That's what you're going to do. So what happened?
I
rebrewed it.
The weapons were taken from me, which was a good call. And I stayed up and drank pretty much everything I had in the house that evening.
Oh, you did? You couldn't go to bed after that?
Oh, no, I'm so furious.
Oh, yeah, the adrenaline's going. You can't fall asleep.
Stayed up drinking.
Can you imagine what happens when he runs out of gas? Or like,
yes,
like drops a fork down the garbage disposal?
Ask me how I know. I know exactly what happens. Oh, man. She just stayed up drinking. Yeah, attaboy.
What would you do?
Ask the wife for a handy.
Well, back then, I would have done exactly the same thing you did.
I was...
But now...
20...
I would have shot the shit out of it. I'll shoot it tonight. 24. I would have done. How old are you now? How long ago was this?
This was a couple of years back. I'm 28 now.
Oh. He's grown up.
Yeah, he's matured, man. Leave him alone.
Still got that loaded 9mm next to your bed?
No, I've upgraded.
Yeah, I was going to say now it's a 45, I bet.
I said I'm older, right? I know I got to put big holes in people.
Yeah, 9s won't do anything. They'll just make you mad.
Did you lose every single drop of beer, or were you able to put the ones
I
that
did salvage some of the beer, and surprisingly, it was actually not too messed up.
Wait, how did you salvage it?
Because he's saying one of the carboys broke, but then the other two were just kind of had fallen onto their side. Is that right?
Yeah, the carboys were a waste. Obviously, the broken one was broken. The two that were on their side, they dumped almost everything. The 10-gallon makeshift redneck fermenter thing that I created, it saved almost 5 gallons by the time I uprighted it. And it had a Doppelbock in it that actually turned out pretty nice.
Success.
Yeah, 1 for 5 ain't bad.
Story of my life, Sean. 1 for 5 ain't bad, man. Could have been worse. Well, this is a good story. I do wish it had ended in gunshots, but that's because I'm a masochist, man. Your wife's a smart lady, and I'm glad you got talked off the ledge. Well done, sir. Or not so well done, but you get the idea.
Sorry about your beer.
Yeah, it's a tragedy.
Yeah, we all are. Thank you.
Have you broken a carboy since? I mean, even just carrying it or anything.
I've broken so many carboys, man.
Okay, yeah. Do you still ferment in glass carboys?
I do like the better bottles. I do.
Yeah.
The only thing is you can't heat them. So
heat them.
Heat.
You heat the top to sanitize it? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, or fill it with some boiling water or hot caustic if you've got a really bad chromosome.
It'll warp if you...
I got you.
I have a bad chromosome.
Oh, we were talking about putting carboys right on the stove. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
What do you guys cook your beer in?
Well, the reason I don't have anything against glass carboys, but the reason I ask is that a lot of times, if you've broken, most people you talk to, if they've broken one glass carboy, they're out.
Oh, that's it.
They're so scared to death because of the way they break. There's just shards of glass everywhere.
Dangerous, man.
People just are like,
until I had the glass cleaned up.
They're like, I saw it once, I'm out. No more glass for me.
Oh, wow. So you were discovering shards months after the fact?
Oh, yeah. It was like a bomb, man.
Well, he was naked, so... And that shit goes everywhere.
I didn't even know I had this crease.
Yeah. All right, Sean, thanks for sharing with us, brother. I appreciate you, sharing the misery.
Of course.
All right. Cheers, man. Good luck in your future endeavors.
Cheers.
Yeah. Don't shoot anybody. Cheers, Sean.
No promises. Bye.
There you go. That's Sean Martin, and our happy hour is brought to you by Sabco. Upgrade your equipment to the next level with a Brew Magic brewing system, because better equipment will help you avoid brewing catastrophes like these.
BrewMagic.com.
That and a 9mm will help
45.
you avoid brewing.
Codes in the chat. He goes, this person doesn't need a handgun. Just clean it up.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Just clean
it up.
See, that's why I was making a point of his anger issues. He's got anger issues.
Yes.
I mean, they're there.
I'm so mad at this inanimate object, I'm going to drink every last drop of liquor.
For the rest of the night. All right, it's either Stu Burbank or Stu from Burbank is on the line.
It's the Stu from Burbank. Sorry.
I like Stu Burbank.
The Burbank.
The Stu from Burbank has a brewing question. What's happening, Stu?
How's it going, guys? I have kind of a weird question for you.
All right.
And I just wanted to be lazy and not go to the forums or anything like that.
That's cool.
I get those emails every
But
day.
I have about 50 bottles of this kind of fucked up Belgian blonde that was brewed maybe a year ago. And it's carbonated, they're all capped, but the beer I'm certain got infected. And I think it was with like a random like pediococcus like bacteria. Because it got ropey, it did the whole thing, and I tried a couple about a month ago, and it tasted like green apples, kind of sour, and really buttery, and all those flavors together kind of made it really nasty and fucked up. My question is because it's already carbonated, if you guys thought it would be worth it to maybe dump it somehow or something and pitch some like Brett into it, I've never made a sour beer, so I honestly wasn't sure, but 50 bottles, I don't know, I wasn't ready to dump them out yet.
Dude, you got 3 issues going on.
I wish you could see the look on Nate's face right now, Stu. He's like grinding his teeth.
I'm just thinking, like, you could. I've had that half a thought before when I've had a batch that was messed up. Probably just cut your losses and move on. I mean, if you really wanted to experiment with it and just to see what would happen, and you wouldn't mind throwing a vial's worth of Brett on it and wasting that money potentially, you could try and put it back in a fermenter or a keg or something and send Brett in after it. But it sounds like it's got enough diacetyl, enough acetaldehyde, and other off flavors that it might not be able to mop that up. If you did, try to get the Brett active first, because it's got a tough job ahead of it.
But the Brett's not going to...
So, I mean...
It'll eat the diacetyl.
Yeah, Brett can chew through diacetyl, but if there's enough
That's
in
what
it...
I read, but I've never made a sour beer, and this was kind of the only infected batch I got.
Okay.
But it definitely got, like, sick for a few months. It was really thick. I cracked a couple test bottles, and that's what made me think it was, like, a pedio strain that got it. But I have no fucking clue. I don't know. I wanted to see if there was any way to salvage it, and my real concern was that it's already carbonated, if that would kind of screw everything up. Cause
do you like the flavors otherwise?
Isn't that expensive, I don't think.
Do you like the flavors otherwise, or is there a lot of nail polish and other types of maybe funky, nasty alcohols there too?
No, I mean the butteriness and stuff is what really got me. Because underneath it was like it was okay. The green apple and the tartness and the sourness could have been good. And I've never used Brett before, so I wasn't sure if I threw that in there, if it would really clean up that kind of diacetyl flavor, or even give it a shot. If it's not worth it, that's kind of what I'm looking for. It's just, I don't know, I guess advice.
Without tasting it, it sounds like it's not worth it. You're going to go through some expense and some effort, and you might end up disappointed in the end anyway. Tasty, you got something else?
It depends on the effort. I mean, is it in 12-ounce bottles?
Most of them are 22s. I've got about a case of 12-ounce and a case of 22s.
Okay.
Maybe
so
a
how would
more.
you even do it,
overall, 50
you just
bottles. Almost a whole batch.
Get yourself a Brett mixture together, and then pop the cap, inject each bottle.
What about there's no worry of then exploding?
Exploding?
That's very...
Yeah,
you've just released all the pressure that's already built up.
That's true, too.
Is there, you said they're getting ropey. Any sign of a pellicle in the bottles?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It got a ring around the top, but everything's fallen out. It's clear now.
So now it's clear?
It's definitely got ropey. It got thick. It was kind of funky.
Now, you can go as far as to even remove some of the beer. Open them up, pour an ounce out, add maybe an equivalent amount of a Brett concoction, and then cap it back up.
What if he were to dump all of the bottles into a carboy and then pitch the Brett in there?
Okay, what would be then put it back? He would just knock out the carbonation.
Well, and he'd avoid bottle bombs.
Well, you think it's going to add that much carbonation to it?
It's already carbonated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't think there's enough there for it to eat.
But without tasting it and getting a sense for that, potentially you could have 50 explosions.
Well, I guess that's the downside.
Does he have to put a cap on them?
It's the downside.
Yeah,
you don't put them in your bathtub or in the refrigerator.
Don't leave them by women or children.
He already had so much microbiological activity in these bottles. They may have
there's nothing left.
They may have a lot of CO2 built up in them, quite a bit. Do they gush when you open them?
Yeah, they are pretty carbonated.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm not like a pro, but I'd say like 3.5, almost 4 volumes. Like the bottles are being pushed to the limits, but none of them have exploded after.
I say call it a day. Call it a day. If you were going to do
call it a day, dump that shit.
If you were going to do it, put them somewhere that nothing will be affected if they explode. Wear safety glasses when you go near them. I mean, there's a number of. I know what JP's getting at. He's worrying for your well-being.
Keep your gun in a locked case.
And the potential result, I feel like, is a mediocre sour beer. At best, is what the result is. Yeah. So I feel like it's not worth it.
Brett will eat some of that diacetyl, but it's not going to eat all of it. And then you have
won't take it all out.
Well, and then you have the green apple nonsense going on. It does. I mean, from the stuff that I've read, it doesn't take everything out.
But it will clean up a beer. I mean, if it gets rid of the diacetyl,
it'll take some of it, but it won't take it all out.
No,
right. And then you have the acetaldehyde, like the sour apple that you're talking about.
That may not go away.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think you have 3 separate issues here that one fix won't change everything. Just dump it and do it again.
That's exactly what I like to hear. That was the answer I wanted, was if it's worth it or not, and it sounds like it's completely not worth the effort.
Yeah, bury one bottle in the backyard and open it up in about a couple of years.
There you go.
And
Yeah,
if it's stellar, call us back. Yeah. We won't be here, so don't worry about it.
Now, I like that, Tasty. You're right. Save a bottle.
Maybe
By
save
all
one or
means,
two.
save a couple bottles and forget about them.
You never know.
You know.
But don't fuck with 50.
Okay, I'll set maybe a 6-pack aside. Hey, before I let you guys go, or before you let me go, that is, I feel like I got misled out of Drunk of the Year.
Probably.
You guys canceled Drunk of the Week mid-year, and I was so sad about that.
How many Drunk of the Week calls did we get from you up to that point?
None.
4, of which I think I took 3 of. I got 3
shit.
Drunk of the Week medals, I think.
We might have misled you. It was a hard thing for us because we were
I
still could have given the award last year, actually.
Well, here's what we thought. We were like, shit, are we going to go back to only the first 6 months and figure out if we got a good amount of Drunk of the Week calls? And because we canceled it after that. So we thought that Doc's Lifetime Achievement was better suited.
Yeah, it's good. My liver is probably better for it.
You didn't feel like you had to keep competing. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Basically that.
All right,
anyway, I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate the input, and get better, JP.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call, man. Cheers.
I'll see you. Bye.
Will you, though?
There you go. That's the Stu from Burbank.
Stuberbank.
Shut up.
Stuberbank?
I actually have a real question.
Oh, shit.
Can
you get
free shipping? Shut up. Why did he have to cover the bottles? Because I vaguely recall halfway listening to one show
yes,
where we were interviewing a sour beer maker, and he fermented or did something with everything open. Nothing was covered.
So she's saying if you popped all the caps and then pitched your Brett, but never recapped
recapped it.
Oh, I see.
Do you remember that show, or am I?
No, that's a way.
retard?
That is a way to do things. Although you don't
put an airlock in each bottle.
Yeah, you
I'm
could.
hearing where you're going.
So, but you would need some form of covering.
This
You
might
couldn't just leave it
actually be
open.
a smart question.
Answer. It is got an answer, not a question.
And just to take it one step further,
Yeah.
because I'm poor and ghetto, could you put like saran wrap over the top and just poke a couple holes in it?
You wouldn't even have to poke holes in it. You could put saran wrap over top. It would keep things from falling in, which is really all you're worried about. And it would vent just on its own without holes.
I would use foil. The saran wrap might be too tight.
But then, back to my original question,
Yeah.
why did this other place do it without putting anything over the top of their...
because you're thinking of a couple different things. One, you're thinking of large fermentation tanks. These are bottles.
In a sterile air environment.
So you can't do that. Second of all, what are you worried about falling in? There's already crap in it.
It might help the beer.
It might help the beer.
A fly or something.
I know what you mean, but
cover
yeah.
anything.
That's why we cover
I guess what I mean
anything,
is we're not worried about stuff crawling up the bottle
You're worried about
and
dust
underneath
coming
a
in.
cap and
Correct.
falling in.
Yes.
I've always been told, like by Doc, as long as you have something over top, we're only worried about stuff
Right.
falling in.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Right.
So that's why I said the saran wrap's a good idea, because nothing's going to crawl up underneath it.
Yeah, in theory, it's a good idea, but in practice, if you were going to dose 50 bottles, you recap them. I wouldn't mess around with. I mean, you just recap them. Just recap it.
Except that it solves the bottle bomb problem
Yeah,
we're talking about. If we did foil, like Tasty said, instead of saran wrap, just foil them. No bombs.
At that point, it's
a third fermentation.
Oxygen, though.
But there's nothing keeping the carbonation in. So eventually the beer is going to go flat, and then if the bread is actually eating any sugars, all that carbonation is just going to go out, and so you're going to end up with flat beer that you have in a bottle that you can't do anything with.
Which is better than shards of glass in your eye.
Yeah, you could call it though. You could call it cask conditioned. It's still a little flat, but it's cask.
And send it off to camera.
Yeah.
It is my real ale.
It's real, all right. Shit gets real ale.
It's real.
Yeah.
Real. We should start our own agency over here protecting real.
Real ale.
Well, what if you put the bottle caps on there, but then didn't clamp them?
That's the same thing.
It would achieve the same thing as the foil, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's what you do. Yeah, exactly. You do
What if
everything.
you had a cork and you put a cork and a
little drill? Yes.
You get all these tools, and you get airlocks, and you get foil, and you get saran wrap, and you get your safety glasses, and you get a bottle opener, and you open them all up and dump them and throw them in the recycle bin and move on.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
What if you learn how to brew and you avoid this entirely?
That is too easy.
Right.
Perfect. Way too easy. More? All right. We got another brewing question. Archie from Oregon's on the line. Archie, what's happening?
Archie.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Great show as always.
Thanks, brother. What you got?
Hey, I wasn't gonna call, but since you guys spent 20 minutes talking about like rotten beer and how to save it,
right?
My brother-in-law asked me to brew beer for him, but I have to put it in a Senki keg because of where I'm supplying the beer to or whatever.
Okay, so you're pouring. So the event is at some licensed establishment, and it has to look like a pro beer. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's a wedding. I don't know if I said that.
That's fine. We got it.
The place has Sankey hookups only.
You call them up and ask for Bollocks. They're like, what?
Okay. So, question?
Yeah, well, I'm trying. I want it to be clear beer, but I can't filter it. So what I did was I brewed like 20 gallons to go into a 15-gallon Sankey, and I used American Ale 2. So maybe it'll drop out. And I wonder if I have any advice from you guys. Like, should I crash it before I keg it? I've always kegged it and then crashed it. I don't want, like, a slug of yeast at the bottom of that thing. You know what I'm saying?
How come you didn't ferment it and then do, like, this, like the Sankey was your secondary situation? Or, like, your...
Because he didn't want all that garbage at the bottom.
Here's an idea. Or secondary, and then it went into the Sankey.
Well, do both.
Well,
Crash it.
It sounds like it's already in the Sankey.
I don't have that many fermenters.
First of all,
brew a stout. They like dark beers, right? It's cool.
Wait, but it sounds to me, the reason I'm asking that is, it sounds to me like it's already done and in a Sankey. Is that right?
No, it's already done, and I'm about to. I want to. All right, I've got it fermented. It's in 4 different fermenters.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to fill a 15-gallon Sankey.
Okay.
All right, so
but I guess
clear your beer.
I just want it to be clear.
Clear your beer, right? How do you normally clear your beer?
Well, normally I put it in a corny, but I put it in there warm or fermentate, so that way it doesn't suck in a bunch of air. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, fine. Then how do you? Okay, do you fine it, or do you? Once you get it into that other corny, do you fine it? Do you filter it? What do you do?
Well, if I was using like American Ale or 1056 or whatever, I would put gelatin in my keg.
Perfect. So why don't you just do that? Why don't you? What I'm saying is, why don't you get 4 or 5 gallon kegs to clarity, and then transfer it over to the Sankey keg?
Okay, I guess that's what I'm asking. I should, if I do that. Okay, I guess I could do that.
The corny keg's like a bright tank.
Yeah, use
tasty
them
almost, right?
Well, eventually one of them's a bright tank. They may start out being, secondary fermentation coming out of your fermenter. You may take too much stuff that you do want that to fall out.
It's more work, but if you're not going to filter, then you're going to get clear beer over to that Sankey by essentially doing a secondary for each carboy in your corny kegs. Could he?
So
would it now? Couldn't he just do his findings in primary?
He could, but he can do it in the Sankey. The Sankey that he racks into, since they're going to be stationary, right? He's going to put the clarifier in there. Everything's going to settle out. He's going to have time to do all that.
But he can't put the clarifier in his carboys now.
You can, but really it acts better in the secondary without all the other stuff that white clear stuff you don't need to. And as long as you do a reasonable racking out of your fermenter,
that's a good point.
The switch in the bottom, it should stay there.
Hypothetically, I'm too lazy or I don't have
time.
I'm figuring out this guy already. Yeah, go on.
Basically, I actually relate with Justin a lot because here's the thing: is I think I know a lot about brewing, but I don't actually do it that often. And so this is like a lot of pressure on me. So I feel like I'm gonna
believe me, you're right. Cellaring and getting beer ready for presentation is a big part of brewing that most people don't even consider. And you're in that area right now. It sounds like
this is where my line of questioning comes from, Tasty, because I can tell he's me.
Justin's fluent.
He just wants to know what corners can he cut rather than how to do it.
To get the clearest beer in that Sankey keg. So he is. I'm telling you right now, no matter what we say, he is not going to put those 4 carboys into 4 different corny kegs.
No.
So
you can do them a couple at a time.
He should crash it.
He's not going to do it.
Crash it.
They're going to go. Okay, there we go. Because he's going to go from fermenters.
Crash it in the carboys.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have time to let it sit for a week or so?
Yeah, I could crash it in the carboys and then transfer it. But I wasn't. I've always kind of heard not to do that.
Why?
Do it. If it's
well, I don't know. I thought maybe it sucked air in.
It'll pull air in,
a little bit, but you can just put
push it out.
Something. You're fine.
Purge it.
Push it out with CO2.
Yeah,
it's gonna get freaking drank like immediately.
It's fine. Just crash it. That's your answer.
Crash it. It's got most of that stuff's going to drop off, like Tasty said, for like a week.
Yeah.
Crash it. Rack it into the Sankey keg. Drink it fast.
Yeah, that's what I did for
if you can put the Sankey keg in place
Yes.
At least 24 hours before you're going to serve it.
Yes.
And not move it. You should be fine.
That's even better.
Yeah, if you bring it there, like say you go to the wedding in the morning and the keg's in the back of your car, and then you drive it over to the reception, and then you put it on the floor, and then you tap it, all this cold crashing, useless. So, well, virtually useless. So they're both right. Cold crash it, and then get it there the night before. Leave it. Don't move it. Don't touch it. Don't move it. They tap it. It's done the night before. It'll be fine. It'll be fine by my standards.
Right.
Which is how I'm trying to give you your answer.
It does work well. That's what I did for the Brewcaster Challenge Black IPA. I just threw the secondary into my fridge and let it sit for 3 days, and then I racked it into the keg. And I even force carbed it and mixed everything up that day, and it was still pretty clear.
Yeah, cold crashing is the original clarifier. It works.
Well, it's like, I want to make clear beer, but I don't want to filter it. Well, then you're fucked. Essentially, if you don't want to do anything but you want clear beer, you can't do it. This will at least get you clear-ish homebrew level beer.
With the exception, correct me if I'm wrong, of chill haze. That the crashing doesn't help you with. So if you but you might get lucky with none of that.
You might.
Are we good? Oh, I lost him anyway.
That's weird.
Listen to the podcast.
Oh, he's gone. He'll figure it out.
He will figure it out. He's a
JP,
smart man.
you saved the day for that guy, because there's no fucking way he was going to do all that work. I knew
He should if he wants that.
Yeah, but
that's the right way to do it.
That's
for sure.
why it started like this. I have a question for you guys, because I don't want to read all the books or do anything else.
Yep.
Right.
That's your preface right there. He doesn't want to do it right. He's looking for the corner cut. That's it.
Any
you
you guys
the corner cut.
Any you guys filled a Sankey from Homebrew?
So I didn't even want to get into that.
Yeah,
There is some.
I was waiting till after the call. But
There
I was
are some
curious.
one-way valve issues there. By the way.
I
exactly
didn't even
right.
want to ask that question. I
You
have
got to
no
pull
idea.
the beer out connector off and take that little ball out of it.
Right. He's gonna have fun with that too, I suspect.
Has he thought about this part yet?
It sounds like he's done this before.
Maybe.
So he might have a tool to pull off the
That's
entire
true.
stave
You're right,
and
JP.
then rack right into it.
We're done with him if
that'd
that's
be
the
different.
same guy. We have finished with that.
Oh, yeah. He probably doesn't have a Sankey connector. Forget that.
So
yeah.
I have Richard on the phone from.
Dick.
Actually, he said his name was Evil Brewer, but I thought he said Evil Brewer Dick. So I'm not sure, but on the forum anyway. Anyway, he is a fan of Reuben Brews. Is that
the baby or the beer?
No. The sandwich. I'm a fan of the sandwich.
There's three choices.
You know, the one on the marble rye.
Delicious. Anyway, he just wants to have a chat about them because he thinks that they're great.
Dick, what's happening?
Hey, I am calling just to tell you guys that Reuben's Brew is awesome. I didn't get to listen to your show tonight, but I saw that they were on.
Yeah. I recommend you listen to the archive because Adam killed it. He was great to listen to. He gave us a bunch of information, and the beer was excellent.
Yeah, no, their beer is awesome. I love heading over to their brewery. I'm actually a brewer myself. I work over at Mac and Jack's.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, love visiting.
Beautiful.
Hey, yeah, you can actually go into their brew pub and get drunk just sampling every one of their beers too. They've got like 18 things on tap.
Dick, were you one of those people in line for the Imperial Stout?
No, I wasn't, unfortunately. I don't get out a whole lot right now. Got a brand new baby, so
I'm sorry.
It's working home.
Working home, and whatever she wants me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I figured beans they were on tonight, I would call in and give a plug for all the local people who haven't been over there.
I'm glad you did. You're absolutely right. He was his beer was awesome. A great guest. I recommend going there. And next time I'm in the area, it'll probably be my first stop. Thanks for the call, brother.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a good night.
Cheers, you too. All right, let's get out of here, shall we? Good show, everybody. That was fun. And I did want to thank once again Adam from Reuben's Brews. I thought he really did kill it, and it was nice to listen to him. I think we got a good amount of information.
We certainly made up for last week's zero information. Worse than zero. I feel like people forgot things they already knew listening to last week's show.
That was just Brendan's whiskey.
It was
That's
a
all.
brain drain.
Brendan. I love the man, but wow. What are we going to do? How are we going to be friends with Brendan?
Can't keep up with him.
I think we already are.
We're a bunch of pussies.
Well,
that's what I mean. It's not his. It's not him. It's us. That's
true.
Well, I hope he comes to Winterfest. I do know he's sending Moylan's beer. I did talk to him about that, so that'll be great. Arnie from Marin, his other place, is already sending beer. He always does. It'd be nice to see Brendan out at the fest. I think maybe I can hang at the fest. What do you think?
You should try and keep up with him.
Keep up there?
Just hang out with him and try and keep up.
And just every time it's getting a little crazy, just pretend like someone's speaking into your IFB. You know, this is important. I got to go.
I got the security guard thing to
get your own tap on the shoulder. How nice.
And then go to the water station.
I should wear one of those.
Yeah, just go every time, and then chug at the water station.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again to Reuben's Brews. Next week, we got a great show planned for you. Chris Kuzme. He's at 508 Brewery is it Brooklyn or is it Manhattan?
New York.
I think it's Manhattan, actually.
It might be Manhattan.
It's definitely New York City.
Right.
I just forget which borough he's in. But,
Borough.
But Chris is a good dude, and it's a small brewery that's seeing some real success and brewing some great beers over there. So you're going to want to tune in for that show as well. That's next week. Get your tickets now for Winter Brews Festival. I'm telling you, I think we're going to sell out this year.
I think we are too.
I think it's the first time ever that we're going to sell out. I'd buy them early if I were you.
I think you should.
Is that it?
No, we have Twitter game.
Fuck.
You always forget the Twitter game.
It's so important, too. I can't believe I forget it.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Aww.
What was our Twitter game?
I can't remember. It was too important.
I think it was, what does Moscow do now that he doesn't have a Twitter account?
Sure.
Yes. What will he be
See,
doing
I remember it.
Yeah.
What did we get?
It's the only thing I do well. And even then, Tony Camarenian says Scott is now pinning Hooters on his Pinterest page.
Okay,
I thought it was funny.
The restaurant?
Huh? Wookie Jack writes, he's perfecting his black guy PA recipe.
Black guy?
Black guy.
Yep.
Black guy PA. Bill Kuhn writes, the same stupid stuff he's always done. Now we just get to hear about it even less. Crispy writes, making anal beads out of JP's D&D die. You know where to look if you want the 20-sider back. Ryan Bell, Spider Ray.
Where? Like, who's a noose?
That's a good question.
Anal beads.
I don't know. I guess I followed the string.
I think he's just intimating that I stole it.
Okay, I know that, but he said we know where to look, and I'm just thinking.
I think he was implying
even if we
Scott's
know that he makes anal beads,
bottom.
Do we know where to look for them?
Spider Wrangler writes, watching archive NHL playoff footage while wearing just his mask and gloves.
The man knows me well.
Is that your roommate?
Anders McKinnon writes, writing songs under the pseudonym Sugar Valley Brewer.
How great would what a coup that would be.
And Ulrich writes, painting self-portraits of himself counting money. Duh.
You have one of those already, don't you?
It was hard to paint with one hand and count money with the other, but I figured it out.
Yeah.
He used his feet.
Yeah. So there you go. There you have it. Those are the deals.
I like the one where it's the same. We just hear less of it.
That's pretty good.
So I like that.
I like
All
that.
right, Bill Kuhn's the winner then.
There you go. Congratulations. You won our best game ever, the Twitter game.
I'm feeling degraded.
I'm gonna when I visit you when Scott visits you on the hospital on our behalf.
Right.
I'll play that clip for you. I'll have him bring that clip.
Good. I can't wait.
You'll remember your value.
I can't wait to die.
How long do I have to stay at the hospital once I'm there?
He doesn't even want to stay.
He won't know. He'll be out of it.
I know. I mean, I want to support you.
He'll be high
as
as a kite.
Once JP starts playing Boner Chicken, then you can leave.
You should ask your roommate when you get in there, JP. Hey, bro. Bro, you want to play Boner Chicken? Come on, we're not doing anything. Think he'll go for it?
Got a lot of time.
I think he would.
You don't like our jokes?
No. Sorry.
You bummed him out.
You bummed me out.
It's too bad.
It's a feelings calendar time now.
Will you wear your hospital gown backwards for Boner Chicken?
I think that's what you have to do. The slit goes in the front.
The slit goes in the front. Well, I'll go visit for that, JP. Hey, JP. You jump up to hug us all on morphine. Hey, JP, you have your thing on? Never mind.
Important message from the chat. Andy Wood wanted me to tell you, Justin, that he loves your balls.
Oh, well, that's nice. Isn't it?
No.
It's always nice to hear.
Nice for you. I mean, I'm not getting out of it.
That's true. All right, Jip, are you ready to take us out of here?
I suppose.
We'll see you all next week.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Thank you to Adam from Reuben's Brews. Check him out over at reubensbrews.com. The Hops for Housing Homebrew Showcase is coming to San Francisco next month. Sample beers from 15 homebrewers to help raise money for the SF Tenants Union. Go to hopsforhousing.eventbrite.com for details. Not funny at all, apparently. JP is riddled with cancer over on Twitter at Major Jip. Scott is no longer on Twitter in silent protest of the escalation of the gender wars. For some good beer insight and homebrew info, follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew and Mike McDowell at Tasty McD. Production director on the session has been Push Eject. Tonight's show has been produced by Scott Moskowitz. JP is looking for his self-esteem somewhere. Your call screener and sandwich guru has Bibo, and your host was Justin Bosley. Be sure to find the Brewing Network on Facebook and Bibba.
Justin's a nice guy, and when